Episode 161. She missed him so much that she secretly sniffed his shirt. Richard frowned and said, I understand where both of you are coming from. April might just feel a little uncomfortable or squeamish. After all, she's a prideful girl. Must have taken a lot of courage for her to speak to you about this in the first place. She might be a little disappointed that you lack faith in her father's character. Yes, I hope that she'd understand, Aaron said thoughtfully. I don't know Kenneth well, so I can't deem him as an innocent man just because of Isaac. I only believe in hard facts and evidence. It won't be easy to look into the matter, Richard said. There was too much controversy over that incident. Almost everyone was talking about it then. I've seen the comments online. Some people even said things like they wish they could have executed the man themselves. Even the mayor of Lukesville had to make a public statement about his position on the matter due to the crowd pressure. If we don't have convincing evidence, it'll be impossible to open the case again. We wouldn't want the Bennett family to be implicated in the end. Aaron nodded. The worst thing a politician feared was a public controversy. Even though the Bennett family was powerful and influential, there were many people who would jump at the opportunity to tear them down. If he was going to investigate the matter, he could only do it quietly. Let's stop talking about this. April's here, Richard reminded him gently when he saw April emerging from the bathroom. Before they boarded the plane, Winnie texted April to tell her that she wouldn't be coming home that night as she had to choreograph a dance routine at the company. Winnie's not coming home tonight. Aaron peeked over at her phone. It wouldn't be safe for you to sleep in the apartment by yourself. Come to the villa with me. What's unsafe about it? I'm used to sleeping alone, April replied in a low voice. She was still bothered about their earlier conversation. No one was there to worry about your safety last time. Aaron grabbed her hands and intertwined his fingers with her. If you don't want to come to the villa, I can come over to your place tonight. April knew she could only choose between those two options. If I go over to the villa, I'll have to run back to the apartment to get my textbooks in the morning. I'll end up being late for class, April said hesitantly. All right, I'll have Marvin deliver my clothes to your place tomorrow morning. Richard took them both back to the apartment at 11:30 p.m. When they entered the two-room flat, April turned to look at the man behind her. Are you sure you want to stay over? Will you be comfortable sleeping here? After sleeping with you, I realized that it didn't matter to me where I was sleeping. I only care about the fact that I'm sleeping with you. Aaron grinned and took off his jacket. April looked at him and shuddered. She had a feeling that they were about to reenact what happened that morning. Enough, not tonight. You just had your way this morning. My legs are chafed and sore. Why didn't you tell me that your skin was chafed? Aaron said with concern. Does it hurt? Do you need me to get you some bandages? It's okay. It'll heal by itself, but you shouldn't do that anymore. It'll make it worse. April turned to get a drink of water. It's all my fault. I'm too thick. April spit out the water in her mouth in shock and turned bright red. Aaron grinned with delight as he watched her expression. He threw his shirt to her and walked towards the master bathroom. I'm going to take a shower. April lowered her head to look at the shirt in her hands. A tempting, refreshing, light, manly aroma lingered in her nose. When she first met him, she thought that he was wearing perfume. Later on, when she lived with him every day, she found that he had this natural scent. Nowadays, many men had a smell of sweat, smoke, or alcohol and rarely smelled as good as he did. April couldn't help but sniff at the shirt. Do you have a hairdryer? I want to wash my underwear and dry it. Aaron walked out of the bathroom and saw April sniffing his shirt. He paused slightly. April froze. Judging by how narcissistic he was, she believed that he would go beyond himself. So she hurriedly stuttered to explain, I just want to know if your shirt stinks and if it needs to be washed. I get it. It's all right. Aaron blinked and replied. He told himself that April loved him so much that she needed to secretly sniff his shirt to quench her craving toward him when she turned back without embracing her. April felt so embarrassed that even she wanted to kill herself. Go take a shower now. I'll shower in the bathroom outside, she said. All right. If you like the smell of that shirt, don't wash it. Marvin will send me a new shirt tomorrow. Aaron smiled, turned, and walked into the bathroom again. Afterward, he tilted his head to sniff at his own shoulder. He didn't catch any scent, so he didn't understand why his woman enjoyed his scent so much. Well, I'm just too perfect. Even my scent is so good. After showering, April went back to her bedroom, trying not to think about what had happened just before. However, once in, she felt that the temperature in her bedroom rose drastically, especially when she saw the slim man who was leaning against her bed with a pink towel over his shoulder. Hearing her footsteps, Aaron raised his head, sniffed at the pink towel which belonged to April, and then gave an elegant smile and said, It smells so nice. See, I am so thoughtful. In order to save April from feeling embarrassed after he caught her sniffing his shirt, he took her towel when leaving the bathroom so she wouldn't feel shy and would be able to sniff his shirt anytime she wanted. April felt dizzy. If Aaron wasn't so handsome, she would have seen him as a pervert. "Stop it. Give me back my towel." The blushing April took away the towel from his hands. However, after that, she only felt dizzier. He was only wearing a gray pair of underwear. His long and straight legs were exposed and his crotch area was bulging. She had touched that area yesterday. He had a few scratches on his chest, all left by her last night or this morning, when she was nearly lost in pleasure. April felt that her head was burning. "Why didn't you wear pants?" She didn't know what to do or where to put her eyes. "I did." Aaron pulled the edge of his underwear. April turned her face away. She decided not to look at him as it was bedtime. "Scooch over. I'm going to sleep." April sat on the bed and pushed Aaron, who was sitting in the middle of the bed. Aaron smiled and asked, "Aren't you sleeping in Winnie's room?" April paused. Then Aaron laughed and continued, "I thought you were going to sleep in Winnie's bed. It seems that you want to sleep with me as well." "If I asked to sleep in Winnie's room, will you agree?" asked April. He's so evil to make such a joke now. After saying that, she angrily turned and attempted to leave. However, before she went too far, she was lifted by Aaron and put into the bed. Episode 162. She didn't understand why he was suddenly angry. Aaron's toned and shaped body pressed down upon her. A scalding gust of hot air assaulted her senses. April raised her head and caught the sight of his chiseled jawline and his Adam's apple as he swallowed. Perhaps he hadn't shaved in the morning. There was thin stubble on his chin, giving him an air of masculinity and maturity. April held her breath momentarily, turned her gaze away and pushed him. "Get up, I'm tired, and I want to sleep." "Didn't you say I gave you an abrasion this morning? Let me look at your wound," Aaron said as he took in the view of the woman beneath him. Her jet-black hair spilled over the sky-blue sheets and lined her soft, ever-so-radiant face. The only problem was that her clothes were barely revealing. It seemed that she was even wearing her inners. Seeing this, his eyebrows furrowed. "Thank you. My wound's not serious. You don't have to see it." April continued pushing his shoulders. "Moreover, it might get worse if you do." After all, her abrasion was at the top of her inner thigh. Who knew if Aaron would be able to hold himself back at the sight? "How can you say that? To prove my character, I must take a look." Upon saying this, he started to tug harder at her pants. April wanted to break down. Despite holding onto her waistband for dear life, Aaron still managed to pry it from her grasp. He flung her pants away. Her pale, slender legs were raised in the air. April was so embarrassed, her face had turned a deep crimson. Furthermore, there was a certain man trying to pry her legs apart. "If you carry on, I'm going to be angry." April stared at him, frustrated. "April, I'm going to be angry." Aaron looked up with a serious expression etched on his face. "I'm just concerned about you." April was stunned at his righteousness. With a bit of effort, he had succeeded. Aaron looked down at her abrasion and started to study it intently. April let her head drop and looked up at the ceiling, biting the side of her lip. She wished that a wave would just crash over her and knock her unconscious. It was in the middle of the night, and she was dressed like this, being peered at by a man. She wanted to die of embarrassment. Aaron planted a kiss on her wound as he said, "April, it's my fault indeed." April trembled. She wanted to withdraw her thigh, but he grasped it tightly. "Aaron, let me go now," she said desperately. "I'm tired. I have no energy to play games with you tonight." "I'm not playing games. I'm just worried about you." Aaron threw her a sly gaze and kissed her wound a few more times. April held her breath. She could not help but feel aroused. It was strange. It had only been one night, but her senses still seemed awakened. "April, you seem to feel it." Aaron raised his gaze to meet hers. As deep and as mesmerizing as the Milky Way, he had hit the nail on the head. April, who was flushed to the brim by now, craned her neck forwards to bite him. However, she did not manage to bite him. Instead, her lips were captured by his. He kissed her ferociously, and April could only let out a quiet yelp. It was as if he had broken down the gates to her castle. She was nearly asphyxiated by his kiss. She could feel his intense desire, too. Opening her eyes, she saw that his forehead was drenched with sweat. She knew that he was arduously holding himself back. She did not know much, but she could tell that these things were important to men. This must also be the reason why he tried so hard to climb into bed with her. As indescribable feelings grew within April, and at that moment, a strange notion flashed across her mind. Since they were left with the last step, and what was done, was there any need to remain guarded? And tonight she asked him to help her father. He had been doing things for her the whole time while she did nothing for him. She was simply taking from him. With these thoughts, she slowly stopped resisting, but closed her eyes and let him do whatever he wanted. Aaron thought that she had started feeling the pleasure, so she decided to give up on fighting back but enjoy it carefully. But then he felt that something wasn't right. At last, when he almost penetrated her, she unexpectedly didn't try to stop him as before, but bit her lips and closed her eyes, remaining motionless. She seemed to be a little scared, also a little like a warrior who was about to fight a battle. His heart suddenly sank. He quietly looked at her, doing nothing. April waited for a while, and when she thought that he was going to break her last line of defense, he suddenly quieted down. Half a minute later, she slowly opened her eyes, directly making an eye contact with him. He looked a little displeased, as his eyes were dark and his slightly flushed face was tightened. "What's wrong?" Her heart missed a beat, as she hadn't seen him like this for long. "I should be asking you that." Aaron knitted his brows and his eyes brightened again. "Shouldn't you try to stop me just now? If I moved slightly, I'd be penetrating you." April puzzled. She slightly pulled over the blanket to cover herself. She didn't understand why he was suddenly angry. "Why didn't you say anything?" Her silence darkened Aaron's face. "You didn't want to do it this morning, but now you've suddenly stopped struggling. Is it because of your father?" April shivered, as she was shocked by how sensitive he was. She pressed her lips together as she was too shy to speak out. "Don't you want it?" Still, she said it. "I want it indeed, but I don't want to have it like this. What do you think our relationship is?" Aaron said angrily. "And what do you think you are?" April's flushed face paled gradually. A while later, she apologized with a low voice. "I'm sorry, just now I didn't know why I had that kind of a thought." Aaron coldly glanced at her, turned back and sat on the edge of the bed, staying silent. April spent a while looking at him and then started feeling unhappy as well. "I'm the one suffering the losses, okay? I'm the one suffering the losses, okay? You've taken the advantage of so many men and now you're feeling mad? It's all because of you. You've been trying everything to get me to bed. You said that you wanted to check my wound, but wasn't this your final purpose?" Aaron raised his brows and responded with, "No, April. I know that you value your virginity. You didn't give it to Isaac even after you got engaged with him. What did I give you? I did you a few favors and I taught Mary a lesson for you, so you're giving me your virginity? You're not that cheap." April opened her mouth, looking at him. These past few years, "You're not so valuable," was what she heard the most. However, what he said was the other way around. Aaron wore a serious look and continued, "I've destroyed Isaac and Rosaria for you, and I haven't taken the Imperial Pictures Group back for you. I didn't marry you, nor get engaged with you. I've only given you a diamond ring, and I didn't even give you a bank card, but now you're giving yourself to me entirely? You're devaluing yourself." April immediately wanted to cry. His short speech somehow turned her eyes red. Perhaps she hadn't been cherished by someone like this for a long time. Episode 163. Who Scratched Mr. Bennet's Chest? Men nowadays only knew how to brag about how well they treated a woman and the things they did for women, with the only objective being to sleep with them. Aaron, however, was humble. He said that he had not given her anything. "All right, I've decided. I'll still wait for the day we marry." April grasped the covers tightly against herself and lay down. She covered her face, only exposing her large, sparkling eyes. Aaron was dazed. His mouth gaped open ever so slightly. He cursed silently to himself. He had responded to the unsettled feelings in his heart earlier, but now he felt unimaginably tortured. "Actually, what I meant to say was, you don't have to sleep with me because of your father, but you can do so on the account of other things, like how much you love me. Can you—" April was speechless. The righteous words she had spoken earlier had now evaded her. Who was the one who said that my first time had to be of extreme importance just now? Furthermore, when I used to clean your body in the past, didn't you hold yourself back on your own? You didn't even need any cold water to help you then, April said sarcastically as she held back a chuckle. That was because I didn't have a girlfriend back then. It's different now. Aaron turned over, sat up, and looked straight at her. His appearance was comparable to that of Richard at the sight of a bone, salivating uncontrollably. Dream on. April stuck out her tongue and hid beneath her covers, ignoring him. Aaron looked at the pile of covers for a moment before laying down beside her. April did not hear a thing as she laid beneath her covers. After about a minute, she was unable to bear the silence and pulled the covers open by just a crack. She discovered Aaron curled up away from her. His curved back displayed his shallow scars. His waist was slim and lean with perfect outlines. It was a sight that was extremely reassuring. You'll catch a cold. April covered his body with her covers. He remained motionless. Hey, you wouldn't get angry just like that, would you? April probed. Don't speak to me. I'm holding myself back. Erin's voice sounded restrained. I'm only halfway along the long march of 8,000 miles. April didn't know what to say. What did holding yourself back have to do with the long march? April nearly spat in laughter. After a while, she bit her lips and nudged herself closer to him, pressing her delicate figure against his back. Erin's torso shivered and his breathing became increasingly labored. April felt her face flush. Her hands crept slowly along his waist. After some time, the silence was broken by Erin's soft groans. Afterward, Erin lay on his side, looking at April with a grin on his face. April, for this period of time, my happiness is in your hands. Go to sleep. April immediately switched off the lights. Her body was bathed in moonlight as she laid down to sleep. It's cold. I'll let you hug me to sleep. Erin pulled her over into his embrace. His chest was warm, radiating a familiar scent. April was so exhausted. In his embrace, she finally fell into a restful slumber. The next day, April woke up for her 8:30 a.m. class at 7 a.m. Why are you up so early? Erin looked at her groggily. I'm making breakfast. April glanced at him as she tied up her hair. Erin's eyes glowed and his heart was warmed. His April was so nice. She took care of the lower part of his body at night, and in the morning she was busy taking care of his stomach. His mother would only do skincare and makeup in the morning, and his sister had never done any housework. Erin believed that his mother and sister weren't as good as even a finger of his woman. April, I want some porridge, and a sandwich with butter and honey, and a medium boiled egg with a slice of ham. Also get me some sweet corn. I like sweet corn, he said hurriedly. April was speechless. Where could she find so many foods? Besides, she wasn't his cook. She believed that she was already nice enough as she was willing to make him breakfast. However, he actually tried to order food. She didn't want to talk to him and instead turned and left the bedroom. 40 minutes later, Erin gazed at a bowl of dry noodles and said, This is the worst and simplest breakfast I've ever had. Didn't you say that any food I make is delicious? Asked April while eating the noodles. You should at least add an egg for me. And spring onion. There isn't even any soup. It's dressed with mere dark soy sauce, Erin complained. I don't have time. I need to go to class, and I have to get dressed and put on my makeup. April sped up eating. Erin didn't know what to say. Turned out that April was just the same as his mother. The only difference was that April would make him noodles with soy sauce, while his mother wouldn't. At that moment, the door opened. Winnie walked in a hurry and said to April while changing shoes, April, you're still here. Wait for me. I'll take a shower and then go to school together with you. After she finished talking, she raised her head to find Erin sitting in the living room wearing only a pair of trousers. She paused for a short while and then stuttered, Mr. Bennett, you slept here last night? While speaking, she glanced at April. April blushed. After all, it was the first time she let her boyfriend stay overnight. It was too late when we came back last night, and you said that you wouldn't come back. He worried about me, so he stayed, explained April. I get it. Go on. Winnie quickly went back to her room. Erin blinked and then calmly picked up his chopsticks and continued eating. There's another girl at home, so you should put your shirt on first. April pushed him and said, Besides, aren't you cold? Staying with you, I constantly feel on fire. Erin shrugged and said, And Marvin hasn't delivered my shirt yet. April didn't want to continue this conversation, so she picked up the shirt he wore yesterday and threw it on him. 8:20, Marvin still hadn't arrived, so April and Winnie left first. Don't forget to close the door when you leave. After reminding Erin, April left. Leaving the apartment, Winnie gave April a meaningful smile. You said that you're not living together with him, but he's already staying overnight. Winnie clicked her tongue. April blushed and explained, He stayed overnight, but that doesn't mean that we had sex. Winnie chuckled and said, Really? Who scratched Mr. Bennett's chest then? I have great eyesight, so I saw those scratches once I was home. We didn't make it to the last step anyway. April clenched her teeth and said with determination, All right. Judging by Mr. Bennett's efficiency, you won't be sharing a flat with me for long. Winnie rubbed her red eyes and said, It's all right if you want to bring him to our flat. I've been busy recently. The company will release an album for me next year in March. Have you heard that Mary is going to sign a contract with Starlight? I heard that Erin's grandma's talked to Starlight's owner about it herself. Episode 164. I'll disable you so you can never be a singer in your whole life. April was not surprised. After all, the Flander family had Esther's backing, while Kathy's parents were also in the upper echelons of management in the YCC Corporation. Helping Mary seek contacts was not out of the ordinary for them. She was a little disappointed, however. Starlight seems to be doing well in the music industry, but your company is good too. Furthermore, your singing abilities are way better than Mary's. Don't worry. April comforted her. I'm not worried about her. I'm worried about you, Winnie explained. Judging from the last time Auntie Kathy pretended to fall, it's quite evident that she's very cunning. Hopefully what happened recently has already come to a conclusion." April fell silent. For some reason, over the last few days, she had felt an ominous sense of foreboding, of gray skies and thunderstorms brewing in the distance. The two of them parted ways at the school foyer. When April walked into her classroom, the lesson had not yet started. Annie was surrounded by 3 other girls, and for some reason they cast mysterious glances at April before quickly looking away. April frowned. Initially, she had not thought much about it, but after 2 days, she realized that her classmates seemed to not be interested in talking to her anymore. Some even ignored her when she asked them questions. She could sense that she had become an outcast, and she had a vague notion of the reason why. However, she was more concerned about whether Annie had told everyone about the fact that she was Kenneth's daughter. If she had done so, then technically being treated as an outcast would not have been the end of it. Otherwise, it did not seem to fit Mary's style, unless they had other motives. Christmas was getting closer, and April expected that rehearsals for the play would have intensified. However, when she arrived at the dance hall for the rehearsal at the stipulated time, she found only Yolanda packing up the props by himself. "Yolanda, where are the others? Have they arrived?" April asked. "They left." Yolanda looked up and said, placing the props into a bag. She explained, "We just finished rehearsing." "Didn't we agree to meet at 7? April was stunned. "Why didn't anyone tell me that the time had been changed?" "Everyone refuses to listen to you," Yolanda sighed. "I was afraid that you'd wait here all by yourself, so I dawdled to stay behind to tell you." April's expression grew gloomy. She had not rehearsed much with the group over the past few days, but she could sense that she was being ostracized. Therefore, she had made the gesture of treating them to drinks and giving out red packets. She had not expected that her efforts would come to naught. Nevertheless, it was nice of Yolanda to tell her. "Thank you," she said. "April, to avoid trouble, I think you should tell Professor that you're being pulled out of the play." Yolanda was evidently uncomfortable. "Everyone's saying that you extorted $3 million from the Flander family and abused your boyfriend's powers to bully Mary. The group is unhappy with you, and under Madison's influence, everyone's on her side. They said that if you don't leave voluntarily, they'll tell Professor as long as you're acting. Madison will not." April chuckled bitterly to herself. Madison was just like rat feces, contaminating the whole pot of rice. "Although the professor entrusted you with the play, he will not be able to do anything if nobody wants to listen to you," Yolanda continued hesitantly. "I think you should pull out." "You guys really think I'm that kind of a person?" April was furious. She could choose to pull out, but voluntarily doing so would show that she had a weak resolve. "Everyone's saying—" Yolanda hesitated before continuing. "There were some at the party who witnessed the incident. Mary received no lack of praise. Why would she want to hurt you? Moreover, she had to be on stage herself that day. If she were to have done something to hurt you, wouldn't she have been hurt too?" "I get it," she said. It turned out that even Yolanda didn't believe her. April turned and left. "April?" Yolanda called her name. April turned around and heard him say, "Do you have to turn yourself into this because of Mary? Professor Sandler has decided to support you at the Christmas show. If a company noticed you and signed you, you might become a star." "I did nothing, believe it or not. Stop talking." April didn't want to hear it, so she left quickly. The show wasn't going to happen anymore, but she couldn't give up on hosting. She wasn't yet clear about the shows prepared by the many departments, so she decided to go and communicate with the people from the other departments, as she now had some free time. She visited a few departments in a row, and no problem occurred. As she walked to the rehearsal room of the music department, she heard the noise of fighting. She walked in and saw a few girls in dance skirts attacking a girl who was surrounded by them. The tallest one among the group even dragged the girl's hair while cursing. "Who do you think you are? Could you have ever taken the lead role if you didn't pull strings? Do you think you're really that amazing? How could you be shameless enough to take someone else's role? I'll destroy your face today so you can never become a singer. Maria Wingett, you're just Mary's dog." The girl in the middle tried to dodge, but her face still suffered a few scratches as she was under a group attack. "Winnie?" April saw the girl's face clearly. She was shocked at first, and then her rage went straight into her head. She hurriedly ran over, pulled the other girls away while yelling, "What are you doing? Let her go now, or I'll call the police." "Who are you? Stay out of our business, or we'll hurt you too." A girl with a ponytail pushed Lousing aside, then turned back to continue attacking Winnie. "Just go. I'm fine." Winnie winked at April. Right after that, someone slapped her face. April clenched her fist furiously, grabbed a wooden chair. She swung it straight at Maria. The tall and strong Maria fell to the ground and couldn't struggle back up for a while. The others in the rehearsal room fell into a silence. April tremblingly pointed at Maria and then said to the others, "Whoever tries to hurt her again, she's an example. If you want to fight, come to me. I might be expelled from the school today, but I'll disable all of you so none of you could ever be singers your whole life." Her eyes were red and her face showed determination. They were all girls, after all. At the moment, they were all frightened a little and none of them dared to make a step forward. Maria was still sitting on the ground. After hearing April's words, she angrily pointed a finger at her and said, "Are you April Eisenberg? I'm calling the police. You hurt me. It hurts so much my spine is nearly broken." "Yes, I'm April Eisenberg." April bent over, stared at her coldly, and said, "You want to call the police? All right, I'll do it for you. I'll tell the police that you attacked Winnie together. My words will be proved by Winnie's wounds. The police will consider my behavior as self-defense. Of course, your families may know some people in the police system, but don't forget who my boyfriend is. I assume you've heard that not even Mary can do a thing to him." You're so shameless." "I won't give up just like this." Mary trembled with anger. She struggled to get up from the ground, but once she moved, April pressed her back down. "What will you do if you don't give up?" April picked the chair back up and said, "In this case, I have no choice but to let you know who's the winner of this fight." Brown. "Mary's known about who I was since long ago, but she never told people about it. Instead, she tried to start a rumor about the party. I'm guessing she'll launch the deadly strike while I'm in the worst situation possible." Winnie gave a start and then said, "That's possible. You should tell Mr. Bennett about it." "No." April shook her head. "He can make Mary shut her mouth, but he can't stop Isaac and Rosaria from talking. Sooner or later, people will know that I'm April Eisenberg. I can hide for now, but not for my whole life. Never mind it, though. I've thought it through. I'm Kenneth's daughter, and that's the truth. No matter what happens in the future, I can't escape from reality. I believe that things will be different this time because I'm no longer alone. Now I have friends, and I have a love in my life. Besides, Aaron will keep me safe." "Even you aren't afraid? What should I be scared of? Not to mention the fact that you're my lucky star. You see, because of you, a music company decided to make me a star," Winnie said half-jokingly. "Go rest. I'm going to take a shower." "All right." April returned to her room to shower in the master bathroom. After showering, she heard her phone ring on her bed. Picking up the phone, she found 14 missed calls from Aaron. She gave a start, wondering if he called her each minute. Doesn't he have anything to do? While she was thinking, Aaron called her again. She hurriedly answered the call and said to him sourly, "What are you doing? You're calling too frequently. My phone is even going to die." Episode 166. He's being narcissistic for himself and his girlfriend. Aaron said grumpily, "You missed so many of my calls. I thought you didn't want to pick up anymore." "I was showering. I didn't look at my phone." "You should bring your phone along to the bathroom now since you have a boyfriend." "As if you bring yours along?" "I do. I put it on the cabinet when I take a shower. I'm worried that your thoughts will run wild if I don't pick up. You might even think that I have a woman on the side." It would be hard for him to get a woman even if he wanted to, April thought. Aaron continued, "Who were you with tonight?" "Winnie." April was surprised that he would even ask. "You're lying. You were with Ryan. He even took you home." Aaron sounded stern. April was stunned. "How did you know? Are you following me?" "I asked someone to pay attention for me at the entrance of your estate. I was worried that Isaac would come looking for trouble." Aaron lowered his voice in frustration. "I didn't expect you to go on a date with another man behind my back." April was touched. She didn't know that he had sent people to protect her. "Didn't they tell you that Winnie was around as well? I didn't lie to you. I just left that part out in case you got jealous." "Who's jealous? I wouldn't get jealous over a little boy." Aaron laughed coldly. "I just think that you shouldn't be hanging out with other men since you're dating me now. Of course, apart from your dad, you don't think it's too much for another man to take you home?" "You are too much. It's impossible to ask me not to befriend any other male counterparts. I'll be interacting with other males during work in the future as well. Do you think I can ask you not to encounter any women?" April shot back. "Of course not. I have self-discipline." April laughed angrily. "As if I don't have self-discipline? At least I won't let other women take me home. I'll never take another woman home either, except for my mother, Sylvia, and my grandma." Aaron paused and asked seriously, "Can you do that?" April was stunned for a while before saying, "What about your ex-girlfriend?" "Speaking of exes, let's talk about your ex-fiancé, Isaac." Aaron chuckled coldly. April was completely defeated. "All right, I was wrong. I won't let Ryan take me home in the future. Are you satisfied? He might not even be taking me home. He might just be taking Winnie home. Impossible. She's not as pretty as you, and her personality isn't as great as yours. She wanted to tell him that Winnie had a wonderful personality and a big heart, but she was happy to hear that her boyfriend thought of her as the best. He was a testament to the saying, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You know your mistake now. Make it up to me with your legs next time, Aaron grunted. April asked, how do I apologize with my legs? Rub them against each other. April blushed over the phone. All right, will you quit thinking about those things? Are you free tomorrow? Let's go catch a movie, April suggested. There's a film that I want to see. I thought that you said you weren't free lately. Don't you have to rehearse for the play? Aaron asked. It's Christmas next week. You must be swamped. Oh, I thought about it. I'm already quite busy with hosting, so I decided to withdraw from the play, April said casually. I didn't have many lines anyway, so I just asked someone to stand in for me. All right, it's good for you to quit. I don't like that toy boy anyway. Aaron chatted with her for a while longer, then ended the call. After hanging up the phone, he immediately said to Marvin, who was driving, Go find out if there's a problem with April's show. Did Miss April say anything? Marvin puzzled at first. No. Before she didn't want to quit, even when I got mad, but now she's suddenly quitted? That's a little weird. Aaron put an elbow against the car window, then rested his forehead in his palm. He sighed and said, My woman is so perfect, so I always worry that she might get bullied by the others. After all, people are always evil. Marvin was left speechless. Boss, you're being narcissistic for both yourself and your girlfriend. Aren't you tired? The next day, when April and Winnie were having breakfast, they saw Ryan's post on the Instagram Moments feed. Earlier, I attended a schoolmate's birthday party. During the party, the MC fell into the water. The MC and the schoolmate are roommates. After the accident, the MC threatened to sue the company that built the stage and claimed $5 million as compensation. My schoolmate believed that the accident happened because of her, so she offered the MC $2 million to solve the problem. However, the MC refused and also encouraged her rich boyfriend to attack my schoolmate. Now things are getting serious and my schoolmate is blaming the MC for all of this. How ridiculous is this? The schoolmate has never been a nice person. She tried very hard to defame the MC in front of me. If you tell me that a two-faced person like this did something to the stage on purpose, I might really believe you. Also, the MC and I have known each other since we were kids, so I clearly know what kind of a person she is. After reading that, Winnie clicked her tongue and said, Ryan is really a good friend. Many of our schoolmates and school leaders are going to see his Instagram moments. Soon his words will spread school-wide. With his support, Mary will fail. April called Ryan and said to him, I read your Instagram moments. Thank you. We're friends, so we should help each other. Ryan laughed carelessly and then said, But if you really want to thank me, I'll accept it. Buy me dinner tonight. Tonight's busy. I'm going to watch a movie with my boyfriend, said April apologetically. How about tomorrow night? All right. In the morning when April arrived at school, people started to greet her again. Yolanda walked to her shyly and said, April, join our rehearsal for the show tonight. Zane and the others asked me to invite you. April glanced at Zane and the others who were looking at her at a distance and then coldly smiled and responded with, I don't think so. This morning I talked to Professor Sandler. He said that he'll arrange for someone else to take my place. You can do it without me. After she finished talking, she grabbed her bag and prepared to leave. Seeing that, Zane hurriedly walked over and said, April, please don't be angry. We heard some untrue words about you earlier, so we misunderstood you. That was our mistake. You have made no mistakes. It's just, you rehearse with me only when you wanted to do it. Who do you think I am? Besides, someone is always saying things about me behind my back. Do you think I really want to do this show now? April cast a look of dislike at Madison and then left quickly. Once she walked out of the classroom, Annie called her name. April, stop! Annie quickly walked up to her, gave her a cold smile and said, You're so shameless. You fooled Aaron, and now what tricks did you play to make Ryan lie in his Instagram moments against his conscience? Episode 168. April, is your boyfriend outside? You should keep an eye on your son. Zachary pointed at Caitlin. It's all because of that scoundrel, David. Watch your words. Zachary rubbed her eyebrows. Why did you bring her here? Aaron chuckled, looking at Annie. Tell them about your rumors that you spread in school. Annie was trembling in fear at the sight of his cold, unforgiving gaze. I was speaking the truth. Yes, it was the truth, but we haven't heard it. Speak, Aaron said, tapping his fingers on the chair. Annie blinked as her heart filled with a mysterious suspicion. She said, I said regarding the accident at Mary's party that April wanted to sue the event company that built the stage. The Flander family wanted to settle it peacefully. After all, the accident happened at their place, so they willingly forked over $2 million as compensation. But April was unwilling to accept that. She pressured Mr. Bennett to take Mary bungee jumping, resulting in her nearly ending up in the hospital. Finishing her sentence, she noticed that everyone in the living room had fallen silent. She blinked uncontrollably, saying, "I was only speaking the truth. I did not make up any facts." Esther looked upset. She remained silent. Caitlin asked, "Did anyone tell you about this, or did you come up with this story on your own?" Annie shook her head. "Why would I? Mary told me about this herself." Erin chuckled. "Grandpa, Grandma, you heard it yourselves. Outsiders may not know about this, but you know the truth. Otherwise, why would Grandpa personally go to the police station to close the case regarding what happened that night?" Zachary's face turned ashen. He looked at Annie and said, "Marvin, this person, take her back where she came from." "Why are you all like this?" Annie felt that something was amiss. "Did Mary lie to me?" "Yes, she did. You've been used like a tool." Aaron raised his chin pridefully with a cold look on his face. "If April had not taught you a lesson earlier, I would have done so myself. Stay away from Mary from now on. If you dare craft such rumors in school again, I'll have you expelled. If you dare reveal her true identity, I'll make sure that no one will ever know where to find you again. I'll crush you like an ant." Annie looked at Esther, but Esther looked away. She had helped her earlier, but now she did not utter a single word. Caitlin blew at the cup of tea in his hands. "You're still wrong. Don't ruin your future because of a stranger." Annie's heart sank. She could only nod in fear. After Marvin had taken Annie away, the atmosphere fell silent for several moments. Aaron spoke again. "I could have sought trouble with Mary, but after careful consideration, I thought that to spare a thought for you two, it would be better to bring Annie here so that you can understand what kind of person Mary is. Grandma, you can't shelter her so unreasonably, right?" Esther appeared uncomfortable. "Mary was wrong in this instance, but it might have been because you took her bungee jumping. She could not retaliate against you, nor was she able to swallow her pride, leaving her with no choice but to lie about April to Annie. Yes, that's why she deserves to be bullied. From what I recall, it was Mary's fault from the very beginning. After all," Aaron's face slowly relaxed, "Grandma, if you really choose to be this unreasonable, then you can just take it that you no longer have me as a grandson. You can keep Mary as your precious granddaughter." Finishing his sentence, he got to his feet. Esther panicked. "But what Auntie Kathy said couldn't have been untrue, right? Moreover, April's background is no fault of ours." "I think Aunt Kathy brought herself to the ground," said Aaron in a bland voice. Esther laughed and replied, "April said that, didn't she?" Aaron frowned, his face showing disappointment. "I brought Annie here specially. If the result remained like this, I would have nothing more to say. From now on, if Mary ever dares to offend my woman again, I'll do even more things." "You." "All right, stop." Zachary interrupted Esther and said, "Esther, Mary was wrong on this matter. I helped her with the party accident because I wanted it to be over. But Aaron, you're wrong too. You shouldn't avenge April by proclaiming revenge on Mary. Each of you should take a step back. This ends now. As for April, her family background is a big issue indeed." "Mom, you tell them." Aaron turned to Caitlin. Caitlin glanced at him perplexedly, then cleared her throat and said, "I've met April before, and she's a nice girl. Her family background is a little bad, but that's not her fault. Since Aaron likes her, I think we should give them a chance. If difficulties do occur in the future, he should face them, as he made the decision himself. He's an adult, so I think he's capable enough to face all of his potential problems." Mary. Esther couldn't believe it. The person who's going to run the YCC Corporation can't be too weak to face any difficulties, can he? Caitlin smiled and continued, "You might not believe this, but before, a contract nearly went wrong when Aaron purchased Starcross Corporation. April was sharp-eyed enough to spot the problem and twisted the situation. Even though her father is a prisoner, she is well-educated, and she's no worse than any girl from any other rich family." Zachary frowned and responded with, "Mary, even if we agree his father wouldn't accept her, would he? If Aaron married a girl with such a family background, his position and reputation would both be affected." Caitlin sneered and said, "Why would that kind of a man need a reputation? Besides, he owes Aaron. If he didn't cheat on me with Jenna Louise's mother, would Aaron break up with Jenica for me?" Hearing that, both Zachary and Esther's faces darkened. "All right, let bygones be bygones. It's over now," said Aaron blandly. "Grandma, no matter how much you like Flanders family, they've done things that have been wrong. If they keep making mistakes, kicking them out will be the first thing I do after I take over YCC. You have my word. They didn't do it just because of April. They just want to step on me and do whatever they want." After saying that, he left in long strides. At 4:50 in the afternoon, April was in a class. Abruptly, she heard the people around her whispering, "Who's that? He's so handsome. I've never seen him. I think he's waiting for someone." April looked outside the window and was shocked. In the corridor, Aaron was wearing a pair of black trousers and a black sweater, leaning against the guardrail. It was the first time she had seen a man look so good in black. He looked handsome, calm, and humble. Noticing her gaze, Aaron waved a hand at her. April couldn't say anything. The people around her immediately cast their eyes on her. Even the professor who was giving a lecture noticed it. Thankfully, this professor was rather humorous. "April, is that your boyfriend outside? He's really not bad. He's even more charming than me, a professor. My female students are all distracted by him." April blushed scarlet, apologizing. "I'm sorry, Professor. I didn't know that he—" "It's all right. Girls were born to like handsome men. There's nothing wrong with that." The professor gave a bitter smile and said, "Next time, tell him to wait downstairs instead of standing outside the classroom, or I won't be able to teach my class." Episode 169. No other man but I can afford you. "Okay," April said. Class was ending in 15 minutes, but it seemed like an eternity. This was because the man standing outside was maintaining the same posture, staring intently at April. Everyone in the class was whispering, "Look at the way he's looking at her. He's mesmerized. He's so patient. It's as if April has him under a spell. My boyfriend's never treated me this way. All of a sudden, I feel like my boyfriend has never even loved me before." April felt her entire body flush with warmth. She discreetly sent him a text, saying, "Everyone's talking about me. Go downstairs and wait for me." Aaron looked down at his phone before casually tucking it away in his pocket. He continued to stare at her. April was speechless. Finally, class ended. April was seated in the middle of class, not far from the door, following her group of classmates as they left. She noticed that many of them had secretly checked Aaron out as they walked past. It seemed like they were catching a glimpse of something rare. It was only when he saw her that his cold, expressionless gaze became warm. Being a woman, April could not help but feel proud. "What's with the wound on your face?" As she approached, Aaron's tone sharpened. "Annie only said that she fought with you. She didn't mention anything about you being wounded. I thought you had claimed an absolute victory." "Did you think you were the one who fought with her instead? How do you even know about it?" April was confused. "Don't tell me you have insiders at school." Aaron stayed silent. He just looked at her wound. The fair skin on her cheeks had only been slightly disturbed by 2 superficial scratches, but it made his blood boil. "That Annie only received a few slaps, whereas your wounds are so serious. It must be that she is jealous of your beauty. Had I known earlier, I would not have let her go." April could not think of what to say. "How is my wound even serious? I only have a light abrasion. Annie is the one who has a swollen face. I think her lips were even bleeding." "In my eyes, it would be an injury even if a single hair of yours dropped." Aaron sighed. Although she felt helpless, April still felt a warm feeling within her heart. It was as if she were being cradled like a princess in his arms. "All right, let's not talk here. Let's talk when we're downstairs." April grabbed his elbow. As they turned, someone hollered from behind, "Maria, you've forgotten your phone." Aaron's long legs stopped moving. He turned to see a skinny young man stopping in his tracks. He had a few pimples on his face, but his features were still decent. April noticed too and impatiently rolled her eyes. As they walked down the stairs, Aaron said, "I didn't know that Maria looked like a weasel." "No way." "A weasel never has good intentions paying a visit to a chicken. Looks are derived from the heart," Aaron said, expressing his thoughts. "Stay away from him in the future." "I've never interacted with him, all right?" April snapped. "Why did you see Annie this morning? Now that I think about it, I haven't seen her all afternoon. Don't tell me that you took her bungee jumping too." "Why would I take such an ugly woman bungee jumping? I took Mary bungee jumping because we're relatives," Aaron sneered. As if bungee jumping with you was like going on a date at an amusement park, April thought. What a nightmare that must be for a woman. "I took her to make her tell my grandmother about all the lies she spun about you in school, so that my grandmother could see Mary's true color." Aaron patted her hand regretfully. "At first I was intending to have the school expel her, but after thinking about it, if you're going to marry me, I can't always have my grandparents be mistaken about you. I even invited my mother along as a witness. They no longer object to us dating now." April was honestly shocked when hearing that. She didn't think that Aaron could actually be so efficient. This morning she thought that she might be punished by the school for fighting, or that Annie might tell the others about who she really was. She waited and waited, but nothing happened. Turned out that Annie was taken away by Aaron. What? Are you too happy to speak? Aaron patted her hair. April smiled and said, I thought that I would become enemies with your grandma for a long time. I thought that she wouldn't let you marry me no matter what happens, just like in some TV series. However, before I could even try to kiss up to her, you've already solved the problem. Aaron blinked, thinking that his grandma had said exactly the same. Aaron, you're so good. April put her arms around his waist. I know that, so you can compliment me more frequently, Aaron chuckled, in case I forget about it. April was a little speechless. Mr. Bennet, your way of talking is always a little different from that of normal people. But you didn't tell me that you were bullied in the school. I feel that I'm held accountable for those kinds of things. Aaron gently touched the wounds on her face and continued, That kind of a woman isn't worth it for you to fight her by yourself. April smiled and replied, Occasionally, I want to test my own strength. You're way too powerful, so with you, I wouldn't even get a chance to protect myself. I'm afraid that if one day you're not with me, I might get bullied. How could you not be with me? Aaron's face darkened immediately. Unless you're planning on cheating on me with... Whom do you want to be with, Ryan? Ryan and I are just friends. April suffered a headache. You have male friends, but I don't have female friends. Aaron gave a cold smile and said, There's no pure friendship between men and women. Most of them are just flirting with each other under the disguise of friendship. That's not true. April knew that she couldn't convince him, so she said, Why do you always suspect me? Would you cheat on me? Mostly the men are the ones that are fickle in love, especially you rich people. What rich man doesn't have several girlfriends? I'm different. I live in the silt, but I was never in brood, Aaron responded calmly. All right, then if you ever cheat on me, don't let me catch you. April rolled her eyes. I doubt you'll ever have a chance of that, he said. April's mouth was parched and her tongue was scorched, yet she just couldn't win against him in this conversation. So she hurriedly changed the topic and asked, Have you talked to your mother about me yet? You've already been admitted by your future mother-in-law. Some other day I'll let you two have a real meal together. Aaron smiled and said, Your mother is really nice. April sighed. Even though she felt that Caitlin was a nice person, the last time she met her, she was still surprised to know that Caitlin was willing to support Aaron. After all, she was Kenneth's daughter. Did you act unreasonably to make your mother agree? She asked. For you, being unreasonable is nothing. Aaron abruptly lowered his head to glance her, chuckling. April was touched. With a sweet smile, she buried her face in his arms, ignoring the many people who were looking at them. This time, Aaron took her to taste the famous kaiseki dishes. The dishes were delicate and delicious. April just couldn't stop praising the dishes. This is so nice. You'll certainly make my taste picky. Aaron crossed his hands, then rested his chin on them. Under the lamplight, his gaze was lethally charming. I want to make your taste picky, so no other man but me could afford and stand you. April's heart raced when hearing that, and her face blushed. Tell me, have you been secretly learning sweet-talking skills again? She asked. Episode 170. I Don't Want to Leave You. Although Aaron had said some abominable things recently, he was also uttering sweet nothings increasingly frequently. April could hardly bear it. I didn't. Aaron raised his eyebrows. So this is what is meant by sweet nothings. I won't need to learn then. It seems that I am born with this talent. April was afraid that he would begin engaging in lengthy self-praise again. She quickly said, Yes, you must have picked it up yourself while dating. Come, this mushroom soup is not bad. Have some. It's average. It might be better if you were feeding me, Aaron said with pride. I'm going to book the tickets. April was too lazy to bother with him. She looked down and opened the booking app. As she tapped away, a message suddenly came in on her phone. Someone had transferred a sum of money to her. She tapped on the notification to open the message. Mr. Bennet had sent her $520 in a virtual red packet. April was speechless. This was too... She could feel goosebumps rising. It was certainly not within his usual sly-tongued and unempathetic character, and she felt a growing sense of bliss within her heart. This scoundrel was not only capable of the most venomous words, but also of the sweetest ones. At 8:20 p.m., the two of them reached the movie theater. Only once they were there did Aaron think to ask what movie they were about to watch. The X-Files 3. Apparently it's really popular. Some say that it's quite touching, too. April pointed towards an advertisement at the door. I don't like that name. Aaron frowned in dismay. Touching? Does your ex-boyfriend touch your heart? April, have you not spared a thought for my feelings? Moreover, what is so touching about a rascal like Isaac? It's just a movie. If it's good, let's watch it. April, overwhelmed with his questions, felt wronged. You just talked about being touched. Aaron emphasized his words. I'm warning you, now that you have me, don't even think about feeling touched because of your ex. I'm saying that this movie is decent. It has nothing to do with my ex. April felt immensely regretful. She should have not brought him to the theater. Who knew that he would be so petty as to pick up a fuss over a movie title? Aaron, if you do this again, I'll never watch a movie with you again. April stomped her foot. Look at everyone bringing their partners to watch the movie. No one is acting like you. Feeling threatened, Aaron finally stopped talking. As they walked into the theater, they heard two girls talking behind them. One of them said, why did you think to ask me out for a movie today? We're watching The X-Files. We can't possibly bring our current partners. What if we start to reminisce about our ex-boyfriends and begin bawling? How hurtful would that be? Hey, yeah, now you mention it, I'm beginning to think about my own ex. Let's stop talking about it. Hurts me every time I think about him. Aaron shot April a cold glance. Had she committed an unforgivable crime bringing her current partner to this movie? When they took their seats, April grabbed his hand and pretended to feel jealous. You'd better not think about your ex or I'll be angry. How is that possible? Aaron said plainly. We're not watching Wolf Warrior. April was stunned. You watched Wolf Warrior with her? She felt that something was amiss. Wolf Warrior had not debuted very long ago, but his ex-girlfriend was a thing of years past. Because I was in the army while I was together with her, it would be hard for me to stop myself from reminiscing about the glorious days while I was in the army. Aaron sighed melancholically. So are you thinking about your ex-girlfriend or your glorious days in the army? Somehow April felt a little sorry for his ex-girlfriend. Aaron was terribly unromantic. Occasionally, the movie seemed more like a comedy. However, when the couple broke up, April's eyes started tearing up. She tried to keep herself from crying because if Aaron saw her cry, he wouldn't hand her a tissue. Instead, he would get mad. Later, she sneakily glanced at Aaron. The screen's dim light illuminated his face. He remained expressionless the whole time. The only time he moved was to cross his legs, grab April's hand, or put popcorn into his mouth from time to time. At the end of the film, the couple didn't get back together. The background music was touching, so quite a few girls were already quietly wiping their tears away with tissues. On the other hand, many of the men stayed impassive. April couldn't help but blink quickly. However, tears still gushed out of her eyes. Thankfully, the light wasn't on, so no one could see that she was crying. As she was thinking how grateful she was for that, Aaron suddenly turned on his phone and lit up her face with its screen. What are you doing? April wasn't prepared for that. She was still crying and her voice was dry. I saw that some people around us were crying, so I wanted to see if you were crying too. Aaron stared at her. His sharp eyes observed the tear stains on her face and the glistening teardrops in her eyelashes. You're crying. You're crying watching exes. Do you miss Isaac? Aaron's handsome face immediately turned as cold as ice. No, I don't. Before April finished talking, Aaron stood up and walked outside with large strides. Feeling helpless, April hurriedly followed him. He walked quickly. Within the blink of an eye, he had walked out of the theater. Aaron, wait! April made an effort to catch up with him, then held his hand. Aaron pushed her hand away, glared at her, and said through clenched teeth, April, right in front of me, you've missed Isaac so much that you even cried. What do you want to do, get back with him? Are you reminded of the days when you were pursuing him? Sadly, he was just using you. Enough! I just cried because of a movie, yet even that made you criticize me. I cried because the movie was touching. What does that have to do with my ex? April clenched her fists and yelled back at him. Aren't you touched at all? Aaron snorted coldly and said, Why should I be touched by that kind of movie? We should watch Wolf Warriors. April covered her chest as she was so angry that her chest hurt. Wolf Warriors, my ass. I prefer these kinds of literary films. April took a deep breath and said, Didn't you find it very touching? They were a couple. He thought she wouldn't leave, but she believed that he would persuade her to stay. In the end, they fell apart. It made me think that if we had a fight, I shouldn't leave you. Or I'd be damned if you didn't try to stop me from leaving. I don't want to leave you. Aaron paused for a few seconds, then his eyes suddenly sparkled with warmth and happiness. So you were thinking about me? Silly, if we had a fight and you tried to leave me, I'd break your legs. What are you worrying about? Erin looked at her and smiled. April hurriedly looked at her own legs and touched them softly. That was the scariest lover's prattle she had ever heard. So the movie wasn't bad? Erin held her hand and said, Sadly, I didn't pay attention to it. Episode 171. Don't be shy. I'm going to take off my clothes anyway. Note: Dear listeners, the following episode contains explicit content. Kindly skip to the next episode in case you feel uncomfortable with such subjects. April was speechless. What were you focused on just now, then? I was thinking about something that happened at work. If he was not paying attention to the movie, how did he manage to flash his phone's flashlight during the movie's climax? He obviously wanted to check if she was crying. April was impressed with his ability to multitask. No wonder he could shoulder a CEO's responsibilities. Let's go. Let's go back in and watch the show. Erin tugged her along. It's probably over. What's there to see? Let's go home, April said with exasperation. We can buy tickets and watch it again. Erin smiled. I want to enjoy the experience again. I saw you sobbing back there. I don't want to miss out on such an intimate moment. Let me savor it once more. April was about to lose her mind. One time is enough for me. If we're going to catch another show, we won't be done until around midnight. I have morning classes to attend tomorrow. Let's catch it again next time, then. Erin frowned and nodded. April muttered under her breath, as if I'll come along. On the way back, Erin said casually as he drove them home, You were quite moved by the film back there, weren't you? Does it spark any newfound revelations about your relationship with me? I guess I've learned to live in the present and be grateful for what we have now, April said patronizingly. He was fishing for words of affection. She couldn't bring herself to speak them. Treasure what we have now, Erin nodded meaningfully. She pretended to fall asleep in the car soon after to avoid any further questions from him. She slowly drifted off into a deep slumber, and when she woke up, she realized that they had arrived at the villa. Why did you bring me here? I want to go back to my apartment. April was baffled. I'll take you back tomorrow morning. Look, Richard misses you so much. Look at him running towards you. Erin took big strides to the passenger seat and scooped her out of the car. Richard was circling them, barking happily. April frowned. Richard probably reacted this way to every little movement or stimulation. Forget it. She wasn't going to start an argument. Upon hearing the commotion, Sister Emily walked out hugging a coat around herself. April, you're here. Are you hungry? I can make you supper if you'd like some. I'm all right. I had quite a substantial dinner. April was grateful for Sister Emily's concern. She was almost like family to her. I'll tidy up the guest room for you then. Sister Emily turned to enter the house. Erin stopped her hastily. It's fine. She'll sleep in the master bedroom with me tonight. Bring her toiletries to my bathroom. Sister Emily stopped in her tracks abruptly and turned to look at them. She gave April a curious look. April blushed and bit her lip shyly. All right, I'm on my way. Sister Emily covered her grin with her hands and walked away briskly. Erin led April upstairs into the changing room. He opened one of the closets and it was filled with women's clothing. I bought these for you. The bottom two drawers are lingerie sets. I wish that I could buy more, but this was all the drawers could fit. I didn't have enough foresight to create more storage space. I didn't see a seductive woman like you coming. April couldn't be bothered to correct his impression that she was the one who courted him actively. She wouldn't be able to convince him even if she tried. When she opened the drawer, it was filled with intimates in all sorts of colors and designs. April turned as red as a tomato. Remember to match innerwears. I like it when it's from the same set. You know how I have a bit of an obsessive-compulsive disorder. Erin winked. Pick a set that you like. We'll shower together tonight. You can choose between having a bath or just a shower. I have enough space for two either way. April was a little afraid of talking to him. Sometimes his words could be really scary. Like now. When did I agree to shower with you? April couldn't even imagine saying that as she was too shy. Go shower alone, she said. Why can't we shower together? I've seen your body before anyway. Erin's eyes scanned her from head to toe. April instantly felt like she was naked. She rolled her eyes, then walked straight out of the changing room. If we shower together, we can scrub each other's backs. Erin followed behind her, trying very hard to persuade her. Sister Emily, who had just carried some toiletries upstairs, heard him and blushed. Ay, they became boyfriend and girlfriend not long ago, yet they're already living together and they're even showering together. Young people are open-minded indeed. Sister Emily, seeing the meaningful look in Sister Emily's eyes, April felt that her entire body was burning. I didn't see anything. You two, go on. The blushing Sister Emily quickly walked into the bathroom and put down the toiletries. April gave Aaron a threatening glance, then said with a low voice, "Stop talking or I'll leave right now." Aaron frowned slightly. After Sister Emily left, he went into the bathroom and showered alone. April tried to find her pajamas from Aaron's closet. However, the longer she spent in the closet, the weirder she felt as she couldn't find any pajamas that weren't revealing. The first one she found was a retro sexy nightshirt that was super low cut. The second one she found was a Japanese-style sexy mini dress. The third one she found was a strapless, silky mini dress. What the hell are these? At last she picked a light purple pajama set. Aaron finished showering and walked out of the bathroom. Seeing the clothes in April's hands, he frowned with discontent and said, "Why did you pick that? It's not sleepwear." "How am I supposed to wear those dresses you bought? It's winter right now. I'll feel cold, all right?" April rolled her eyes. "Yeah? Marvin picked these. I had nothing to do with that." Aaron raised his brows and said, "But those pajamas have already been bought, so don't waste them. You see, I'm really thrifty. I wear every suit 2 to 3 times. April blinked and asked, "What would you do if you weren't thrifty then?" "I would just buy clothes without wearing them." "Rich people." "Just go and change. That mini dress is nice. I like it," Aaron uttered. Deep laughter escaped from his throat, and he said, "In fact, you don't need to be shy. I'm going to strip myself tonight anyway." April really wanted to go back to her own apartment. Because of what Aaron said, April showered as slowly as she could. She felt that a wolf was standing guard outside preparing to eat her once she went out. She was nervous the whole time because the sliding door of the bathroom had no lock and was only barely covered by the window shades behind it. About 10 minutes later, Aaron's voice was heard from outside. "I just heard some loud noises. Did you fall?" "That's the noise of the water. I didn't fall," April hurriedly responded. "What? I can't hear you. Did you fall?" "I didn't fall." April turned off the water. She worried that he might not be able to hear her, so she made her voice loud enough to be heard from the garden outside. "I can't hear you. I'm still a little worried." "I'll come in and check," Aaron said as he opened the door. Hearing his words, April realized that he was going to act shamelessly again, so she hurriedly reached a hand to her bathrobe. However, it was still too late. When Aaron came in, she was standing on her tiptoes, trying to grab her bathrobe. From his angle, she was completely naked. Her hair was coiled into a bun on top of her head. Her breasts were snow white and her nipples were pink. The secrets hiding in the jungle between her legs were all clearly visible. Episode 172. Sylvia is my sister. You can't hurt her. Note: Dear listeners, the following episode contains explicit content. Kindly skip to the next episode in case you feel uncomfortable with such subjects. When April got a hold of herself, blood was rushing through her head and she could hear a pulsatile buzz. Not only was he looking at her stark naked, but her posture was also... "That's enough, Aaron. Who said you could come in here?" April said angrily as she fumbled to grab a towel to cover herself. She quickly grabbed the bar of soap and flung it toward him. Aaron dodged the soap nimbly and feigned innocence. "I heard a ruckus in here and I was worried about you." A big ruckus? What the fuck? She hadn't made a sound in there at all. April was about to break down. She had never met anyone as shameless as he was. "You are obviously coming up with an excuse just to come in here. I shouted to you at the top of my lungs that I was fine. You're not a deaf man, you're just pretending to be." "You really misunderstand me." Aaron walked towards her and his eyes darkened as he continued to stare at her body. April instinctively backed away until she was standing against the wall. "April, let me carry you to bed." Aaron swept her up in his embrace. She was caught off guard, and the towel she had hastily wrapped around herself came undone. "Aaron!" April muttered his name bashfully. She was embarrassed and tried to reach out to cover herself with the towel, but Aaron held her arms tightly and she couldn't free herself from his embrace. She could only curl into a ball in his arms in an effort to cover herself as much as she could. "Hey, April, I'm here. I know you're embarrassed. It's okay. I'll undress later as well. You won't feel uncomfortable then." Aaron looked down at her. She was defeated. She couldn't argue with him. She couldn't resist his advances, and she wasn't as thick-skinned as he was. April shut her eyes tightly and let him do as he pleased. She was in the wolf's den now, and there was no escape. Aaron laid her gently down on the bed, and she could hear him swiftly undo his pants and shirt. After a couple of seconds, she felt his body come onto hers. April opened her eyes weakly in embarrassment. "Don't you think you are too much, Aaron? I'm not against the idea of being intimate with you, but you shouldn't be so shameless and catch me unguarded when I shower. You can Would you have agreed?" Aaron blinked. "No."
Yes, I had to come up with a plan myself. Erin kissed her lips gently and said in a husky voice, April, I want to see all of you when you shower, when you sleep, when you are in class, when you smile, when you're upset. I want your image imprinted in my mind. He continued to whisper in her ear with his magnetic voice. It was seductive and tantalizing. April was getting hot and her heart began pounding fast. She was touched by his proclamation. They were so close to each other, exchanging breaths, their eyes locked. His features were enchanting and she felt like she was in a sauna. Her mind went hazy. It was 11:25. April was hiding in her blanket with half of her face covered by the blanket, only exposing her eyes, which were still misty from pleasure. She had heard about that kind of thing before, but never thought that she would let anyone do it to her. After all, it made her so shy. No wonder Aaron was obsessed with it ever since the first time he did it to her. Aaron lied down on his side, facing her with a big smile on his face. April, is it good? He asked. April didn't respond, instead covering her eyes with the blanket. Earlier, she felt that all her blood had gushed into her brain, but still, she clearly remembered how she had moaned. Why are you so shy? You need to get used to this. Once Aaron said that, his phone rang. He knitted his brows. He didn't want to answer the call, but after seeing the number, he put the phone near his ear without thinking. Jeremy, you finally called, he said. Been carrying a secret mission recently. A deep man's voice was heard from the phone. I can't be in contact with the outside world. I knew it. Aaron laughed and said, You should have let Sylvia know before the mission started. She can't get in touch with you, and that made her worry, also bringing her lots of unnecessary thoughts. It happened suddenly, so I didn't have the time to tell her, said Jeremy. I heard from Richard that you've recovered. Is that true? Yes, long ago. That was ages ago. Aaron glanced at April, then quickly changed the topic. Will you be back this New Year? Yeah, I'll be back New Year's Eve, and I'll stay for a month. Jeremy laughed and replied, We should get together. Sure, but I think the most important thing for you to do is to marry Sylvia this time. You've been engaged for so long, said Aaron. Marry? Jeremy paused. Yes, Sylvia got engaged when she was 18, and now she's 25. You're nearly 30. When are you going to marry each other? Aaron asked in a deep voice. Jeremy stayed silent for a short while and then said, In fact, sometimes I feel sorry for Sylvia. I'm always outside and hardly at home. As my girlfriend, Sylvia, is always alone. Won't you be transferred to civilian work? Actually, I've hesitated about that since last year. I don't really want to be transferred. Jeremy gave a bitter laugh. Aaron's face darkened. What do you mean? He said. When you joined the army, you said that you'd be back one day and that you'd be transferred to civilian work. Because of that, Sylvia became a police officer, but now you're telling me that you're not transferring? Have you ever thought about her feelings? I'll ask her if she's willing to be an army wife. She's not, Jeremy said bitterly. Aaron, you were a soldier. We were together in the army. You should know me better than anyone else. A man should fight for his country. Holding the phone, Aaron fell into a silence. A while later, he said in a deep voice, I don't care. Sylvia is my sister. You can't hurt her. Think about it. She's the best wife for you in the world. Could you ever find anyone better than her? We'll talk about it when I get back. Jeremy sighed and said, It's nearly Christmas. Pick a necklace and give it to Sylvia from me. I'll pay you. I'm in a remote place with poor internet. Shopping malls don't exist here, so I can't buy her a gift myself. All right. Aaron ended the call.
Classes. April never paid attention to her again. At noon, April came out of the canteen after lunch. As she was walking on an avenue in the school, a shrill scream was suddenly heard from behind her. April, I'm going to kill you! As she turned back, Madison rushed up from behind and pushed her to the middle of the road. A series of car horns could immediately be heard as the car was driving over the speed limit of 25 miles an hour. As the car was about to hit April, a man suddenly showed up, lunged toward her, and pressed her to the ground. April could barely react during the whole process. She automatically closed her eyes as she thought that her head was going to hit against the ground. However, when her body fell to the ground, she felt that her head was protected by something. Then she heard a very familiar, deep gasp of a man. The feeling of being embraced by that man was also familiar to her. She suddenly opened her eyes and saw Isaac lying on the roadside beside with her. His arm was under her head. Get up. Isaac helped her up. April's whole body ached and her mind wasn't clear. She raised her head, saw his face clearly, then hurriedly pushed him away with dislike, saying, Mr. Davidson, thank you for saving my life, but what are you doing here? If I wasn't here, you would have been killed by the car just now, Isaac replied, glancing at his own arm. He didn't even remember the last time he held her like he had just now. April ignored him and turned to Madison, who was on the roadside. She was probably shocked by what had happened just now as well. Now, as she realized what had happened, she turned and tried to run away. However, Isaac caught her, stopping her from running. Isaac grabbed her arm and said coldly, "Do you know I can sue you for attempted murder?" He gripped her so hard that he could have ripped her arm off. April walked over. Her eyes lingered shortly on Isaac's arm and saw his dusty suit and a large abrasion on the side of his hand. Episode 174. Because of you, I learned how nice Erin is. If he hadn't protected her head, she would have been injured quite badly. Why did he do that? No matter what, she couldn't erase her disgust for him. "I only shoved her lightly. I didn't see the oncoming vehicle. You should argue with that driver back there," Madison screamed in fear. April turned to look at the car. It had pulled over for a short while, but drove away quickly after that. The driver didn't even get out to apologize. "You said that you were going to kill me just now. I was trying to scare you. You ruined me after all." Madison was on the verge of tears. "Not only did you spread those photos of me online, you even photoshopped my face onto adult videos. There are screenshots of those printed in the classroom. How can I live with myself now? I hate you. I had nothing to do with those clips. Think about how many people you've offended. They're just having their shot at revenge," April said coldly. "Nobody ever forced you to do those things. You acted indecently of your own free will. There's no one to blame but yourself. You're having a taste of your own medicine after spreading all those vile rumors about me. I'll let you off this time, but I'm warning you to stay away from me. Don't blame me if things get uglier." She picked up her books that had scattered on the ground and turned to leave. Isaac squinted at her. The woman in front of him looked extremely unfamiliar. She used to be innocent and lively. Now she was harsh and cold. "That's all? Aren't you afraid that she'll seek you out again?" Isaac caught up with her. April ignored him and picked up her pace. "April, don't forget that I saved you earlier." Isaac grabbed her wrist and hurt was reflected in his eyes. April looked at his hand. It was covered in fresh blood. Isaac didn't seem bothered by his wounds at all. He was focused intently on her face. "What are you playing at?" April looked at him with disgust. "I can't bring myself to be grateful to you after all you've done to hurt me. I can't even bring myself to say thanks." She made a futile attempt to free her hand. She continued to warn him angrily. "Let go of me. Aaron is my boyfriend. He won't go on easy on you if he finds out about this." "He won't, for sure. I was going to purchase the Neon Corporation, but Aaron bought a majority of the company's shares." Isaac chuckled sarcastically. "He made use of his connections with the Media and Communications Authority to bar my productions from public distribution. He's also been spreading negative rumors about me in the industry. Don't think I'm so easy to take down." April couldn't be bothered to entertain him and tried keeping her hands free. "If you don't let go of me now, I'm gonna call Aaron." Aaron, is he all you see now?" Isaac pulled her close to him suddenly. His hand was bleeding more now, staining April's hand as well. "Wasn't it enough that day?" Isaac looked down at her and said sorrowfully, "April, leave him. I won't ever bother you again. If you enjoy voice acting, go ahead. I won't stop you anymore. If you need anything, I'll provide it for you. Just don't be with Aaron anymore." April was stunned. She felt like she was hallucinating. "Why should I listen to you? Are you crazy? I'll have nothing to do with you now." "I said I won't treat you like I used to." Isaac raised his voice and his eyes turned darker. He was wrong. Before, he only wanted to keep her around him so that nobody could take her away from him. However, the harder he pushed her, the quicker she left. Earlier, when he saw her with Aaron, in a knowing that they had slept in the same room, he stayed up all night. He suffered as if he died. He was now willing to give her anything, as long as she gave up on Aaron and got back together with him. He would do anything for her, except forgiving Kenneth. "Isaac, I don't believe you." April shook her head. "You want me to leave him? It's just another trap you prepared for me. You want to keep controlling and torturing me to avenge your unknown hatred." "I won't." Isaac clenched his fists and said, "I promise." "Don't you understand what you've done to me and how badly you've hurt me?" asked April coldly. "Maybe something did happen between you and my father, but you used me to hurt my father. You took away Imperial Group and everything that belonged to me. Because of you, I suffered endless humiliation. I was trampled upon, and I lost my dignity. You know what? After knowing about the misery I had suffered in Lukesville, Aaron didn't mind who I really was, but instead felt sorry for me. He really loves me.
So when he saw me in pain, he felt pain as well. What about you? Have you ever felt pain? You watched me struggle. You knew what I wanted better than anyone else, yet you took away everything I had and gave it all to Rosaria, the woman I hated. And the harm you gave me right in front of so many people back in the hotel, and you sent me to Mr. Lennox. You let him humiliate me. April pointed hard at her own chest and continued, I won't forgive that or excuse any kind of hatred I have toward you today, not even until after I die. You saved me today, but nothing will change. Even if you died right in front of me, I'll only cast a sideways glance at you, then walk away. I hate myself every time I recall the fact that I used to love you. Abruptly, April lowered her head and rubbed the wound on Isaac's hand abrasively. Isaac didn't show any expression. He just kept staring at her. The wound didn't hurt as much as his heart did. He loved her so much. Because he loved her, he had turned himself into a different person. But because of you, April raised her red eyes and continued, I learned how nice Aaron is, and I figured out who's worth my love. What other tricks do you want to play? Just do what you want because you've made me fearless. I now understand that no matter what happens, he'll keep me safe. Finally, she pulled his hands away from her, then turned and left. April, you'll regret what you said today, Isaac said with an extra cold voice behind her. What I regret the most today is meeting you. After saying that, April left without looking back. Isaac stood in the wind for a long while until Clark drove the car to him. He got into the car. Clark looked at his hand and said with a frown, I'll drive you to the hospital. No need. Isaac's pale lips darkened. Stick with the plan. Isaac, don't do things you'll regret, Clark said. He wore a worried look. I'll bring her to hell. As the car drove away, no one saw Mary slowly walk out of a tree, lowering her head to look at the pictures in her phone while smiling. As the Christmas was coming in Shengting, the company was filled with the festive air. Aaron and Richard walked side by side out of the office. While walking, Aaron said, We've successfully purchased Regalia, and your contributions won't go unnoticed. From now on, you should pay more attention to Regalia and get familiar with all of their workings as soon as possible. Episode 175. She didn't answer his call because she was talking with a boy. No problem. Richard looked out of the window as he walked on and said sentimentally, Another year's passed by just like that. You found a girlfriend while I'm still single. That's all right. Ask your mother to arrange a blind date for you. Aaron glanced at him. No way. Richard shook his head vehemently. Oh yeah, I heard Jeremy tell me that Jenica will be returning this year. Aaron stopped in his tracks. Jeremy didn't tell me. He must have been worried that you'd feel uncomfortable, especially with what went down between you and Jenica. She feels the same way too. She's hardly been back the past couple of years. Richard sighed. I haven't seen her in ages and hung out with everyone. None of them know about your new girlfriend yet. This is all history. Aaron frowned. I don't wish to talk about it again. Richard sighed. He knew better than anyone that a happy family had been shattered because of what happened. The two of them parted ways at the elevator lobby. Aaron walked towards the CEO's office, and he overheard two secretaries talking on his way in. It's Christmas Eve in 2 days' time. How are you spending it? With my boyfriend, of course. We'll have to eat an apple for good blessings for the rest of the year. Shouldn't he get you something else? He probably will. We'll see, she said as she caught Aaron standing in front of her and jumped. Mr. Bennett, I'm sorry. I don't mean to chit-chat during office hours. It's all right. Who doesn't talk during work time? How boring would it be if you stayed quiet the whole day? Aaron continued. You have to gift something on Christmas Eve? Yeah. Aaron grinned and appeared to be excited. What are some gift ideas for a man? The two secretaries were shocked. For a man? Mr. Bennett was going to gift another man something on Christmas Eve? So the rumors about Mr. Bennett and the vice president were true. They really did have something going on between the two of them. Oh God, what were the two of them thinking? They were both so handsome and perfect. Why did they have to be gay? Things like gloves, belts, wallets, I guess. Oh. Aaron nodded meaningfully and walked into his office. The two of them looked at each other and hugged each other tightly. So many girls in the company would be devastated when they found out. In the office, Aaron pondered the subject by himself before calling April. What? I'm studying in the library, April whispered. Have you gotten me a gift for Christmas Eve yet? Aaron cut to the chase. Not yet. What on earth? She should have been the one asking that question. April was frustrated. Great. Listen, don't get me gloves. Winters here aren't that cold at all. I don't need them. Neither do I need belts or a new wallet. Aaron chuckled. Give me something different. Why aren't you speaking? April inhaled a sharp breath and said, "Can I ask you to give me something for Christmas Eve?" "Of course." "Get me a whip." April wanted to whip some sense into him. So much for being a man. Not only was he asking for a present from her, he was listing all sorts of requirements. "A whip?" Aaron was shocked. "I don't think that's a good idea. We haven't even done it for real yet. What if you can't handle it? I'm happy to try it out, but I just don't want you to be uncomfortable." "Who's talking about that?" April was angry. "All right, don't get me anything then. Goodbye." "Don't be embarrassed. What's so difficult about admitting to your fetishes?" Aaron smiled. He ended the call, planning to ask Marvin to order the gift online for him, but then he had a second thought. April was shy, so she might feel embarrassed if she found out that Marvin had known about all of this. Therefore, Aaron decided to order the gift himself. It was the first time he had ever shopped online, and he found the whole process a little complicated. A while later, when Marvin came in, he surprisingly found that his boss was learning how to shop online. "Mr. Bennett, some of the products that are sold online are not bad, but for someone like you, they're still not good enough," Marvin reminded him kindly. "Yeah?" Aaron was puzzled at first, and he gave up on online shopping without hesitation. He decided to shop in stores instead. It would be a little awkward, but since his woman liked those things, he should be visiting those kinds of stores more frequently in the future. He believed that he needed to get used to it. "Mr. Bennett, your parcel?" At that moment, his secretary knocked on the door and walked in, putting a parcel on his desk. "Yes," he responded. After Marvin and the secretary left, he tore open the parcel. As he opened the paper bag, 2 photos fell from it. In the first photo, Isaac had his arm around April's waist, face filled with concern, while April lowered her head. In the second photo, Isaac was holding April's hand, face showing deep love. Aaron suddenly stood up from the chair. As he gazed at the photos, his face was as dark as the sky before a thunderstorm. Outside his office, right after Marvin sat down, he heard a loud series of noises from the CEO's office as Aaron had kicked a chair away. Then Aaron stormed out of the office with a dark face and said to him, "Give me the car key." Marvin hadn't seen him so angry in a long time. Without knowing what else to do, he handed Aaron the car key. Aaron took the key and left with big steps. He drove near the library of the university and called April. However, the call wasn't answered. Why didn't she answer his call? He angrily walked into the library, searched for a while, and finally found April, who was sitting beside a window reading. A boy in a white shirt was sitting next to her, and they were talking. Turned out that she didn't answer his call because she was talking to a boy. At that moment, Aaron felt the anger he had been trying very hard to control exploded again. He walked up with large steps, grabbed the boy's arm, and threw him to the ground. Hearing the noise he created, the other students in the library all turned to him. "What are you doing? What's wrong with you?" The boy got up from the ground and angrily threw a punch at Aaron's face. Aaron grabbed his fist and stared at him furiously. On the left side of his body, his clenched fist was preparing for a fight. April recovered from the shock, hurriedly rushed up, held Aaron's arm, and said, "Calm down, we're just discussing our homework." She paused, then said to the male student, "Mason, please forgive him." "Do you have to sit so close to discuss homework? And why didn't he discuss it with someone else? Why you?" Aaron glared at her with cold eyes and said through clenched teeth, "As a woman, don't you know that you should keep a distance away from other men?" Once he said that, some of the other students started pointing fingers at him and April. April's face blushed because of anger. She grabbed his hand and walked outside, saying, "Come out with me. The others need to study." He was practically dragged out by April. At the entrance of the library, Aaron refused to go anywhere further away. His face was tightened, and he seemed to be on the edge of exploding. "That was awful. This is a library, a quiet place. Do you know how embarrassed you've made me just now?" asked April with anger. Episode 176. Will you spend Christmas Eve with me? Are you feeling awkward or guilty? Aaron looked at her sternly. April was indignant. How could he think of her that way? "I have the best grades in my faculty. It's reasonable for people to look to me for answers. Since when were we snuggling up against each other? You probably can't even stand me sitting close to another man." "Of course not. I don't sit next to other women," Aaron said confidently. April looked at him for a moment before storming off. "Stay right there," Aaron shouted from behind her. April ignored him. She felt that she had been spoiling him a little too much. "April," Aaron marched forward and grabbed her wrist, holding it firmly. "You are a really frivolous woman." April chuckled with sarcasm. "How am I being frivolous? I was merely sitting next to another boy.
All the women in this world are frivolous then. Can you be more reasonable? I am speaking with reason. April was speechless, but her wrist was locked tightly in his grip and she couldn't free herself no matter how hard she tried. She decided to bite down hard on his wrist. Aaron retracted his hand in shock. April stared at his wrist. There were 2 bright red gashes. She had bitten as hard as she could without giving it much thought. His wrist was bleeding, her heart sank, and she regretted her actions immediately. Aaron stared quietly at his wounds. He recalled how Isaac had grabbed onto her this way as well. She hadn't bitten him then, even after how he'd trampled on her. How could she do this to him after all that he had done for her? A wave of anger overcame him, and his pupils were dilated with emotion. I'm sorry, April said awkwardly. Leave. Aaron's voice trembled as he sputtered out the command in anger. Come on, let me have a look at that. April reached out to hold his hand. Aaron flung her hand away and glared at her before turning on his feet. April was in shock. She couldn't believe that he could get so angry about such a small matter. Was it really necessary? He could have chosen to be the bigger man. She didn't chase after him. She thought it would be a better idea to give him some space to cool down. He was in the wrong in the first place. She was still in school, and there were so many male counterparts at her school. It would be ridiculous if no one could ask her school-related questions. Aaron slammed his car door forcefully. He couldn't help but turn around, and then he couldn't believe that she didn't run after him. This woman was such a liar. When she reflected about the way the movie they had watched earlier, exes, she said that she could never bear to let him walk away. Why hadn't she held him back earlier on then? It was all a lie. When he drove back to Splingo, he marched into his office and picked up the brown envelope from earlier on and yelled, Marvin, come in here. Mr. Bennett? Marvin was scared. He hadn't seen his boss get so angry in a long time. Go find out who sent this. Aaron threw the envelope at him. Look into what Isaac and Mary are up to. Oh. Marvin wondered if the 2 of them were up to no good again. Mr. Bennett, your hand. Don't mention my hand. Aaron seemed to suddenly get ignited by a fire sparkle. Marvin kept quiet out of fear and didn't dare to say anything to the elder. He believed that his boss was strong enough to heal himself. In the evening, Aaron got out of work on time. As he was taking the private elevator downstairs, Richard walked into the elevator from the lower floor. Are you gonna go on a date with April? That'd be nice. Richard greeted him. After saying that, he sensed a weird atmosphere in the cold air around him. He turned his head to find Aaron staring at him with icy cold eyes. You having a fight? The corners of Richard's mouth twitched. Who told you that? It's written on your face. Richard pointed at him and said. Aaron stayed silent. It's all right. All couples fight each other. Richard patted him on the shoulder and said, Not to mention your awful temper. You've never fought until now. That means April is well-tempered. Hearing that, Aaron, who had just turned his eyes away, turned back to Richard expressionlessly and said, What about my temper? You wouldn't be able to find anyone else as easygoing as I am. Mm-hmm. Richard coughed silently and said, I guess you won't make up soon. Tomorrow's Christmas Eve. Spend the night with me. I'm so bored and lonely. I'll think about it. After all, April will certainly come to me before Christmas Eve to apologize and ask for forgiveness. If her apology isn't sincere enough, I'll spend the night with you, Aaron said as he glanced at Richard blandly. Richard felt hurt. Was he like a back burner? Don't you feel that she might be overthinking? You don't know for sure if she'll come to apologize to you or not. As the elevator ringed, Aaron's phone ringed as well. He glanced at the number on the screen, then showed it to Richard. See, she's calling to apologize right now, but I won't forgive her so easily. After saying that, he hung up on her, put the phone into his pocket, then proudly walked toward his car. Richard speechlessly looked at his back, feeling bare. Even someone like Aaron had a girlfriend, yet he was still single. In April's apartment in the living room, April looked at her phone, feeling a little depressed. These days, she had called him at least 10 times and sent him some messages. However, he never answered her calls or replied to her messages. It's really enough. I've never seen a man who can be so mean when he's angry. I bid him so he can maybe hang up on me once or twice, but after that, we should be good. I'm not even mad at him for embarrassing me in the library. Oh, why are you back so early? Didn't you go on a date with Mr. Bennett? Winnie was back home. She opened the door wider and said, And you're not talking on the phone? We're kind of having a fight. You're back early, too. Didn't your company sign you up for lots of training courses recently? Asked April. Yeah, I have piano class later. I came back to change my clothes, said Winnie. Why are you two in a fight? April told her about what had happened yesterday. He got mad because of that. Winnie clicked her tongue and said, Mr. Bennett is so possessive. You can't avoid talking to men without hurting their feelings. He's just like that. I guess we just need to learn how to deal with these kinds of situations. No one's perfect. I have problems too. April sighed and said, but he's really too bossy. No matter what, you guys should spend Christmas Eve together, said Winnie while changing. It's your first Christmas Eve together. April paused for a second, then asked, what about you? I don't have time for that. I'll be in the company rehearsing. Winnie turned her face away and said, he said that he'll call me tomorrow if he has time. April looked at her, suddenly feeling lucky. Aaron was possessive, but at least he was with her. Episode 177. Do you care about him? Do you love him? At the Celestial Villa. Aaron stormed into the house. Emily was setting the dinner table when she saw him. She smiled and said, Master Aaron, you're back so early. You're rarely at home for dinner now ever since you started dating April. Aaron froze and plopped himself in the dining room chair. He stared at Emily emotionlessly. Did she think that he wanted to come home to see her? He was only home because they had a fight. She was seeing Isaac and whatnot behind his back. He couldn't understand why she wasn't satisfied with a boyfriend like him. He was perfect in all aspects. Women are greedy creatures, he thought to himself. Did I say something wrong? Emily hedged her words carefully. Let's eat. Aaron inhaled sharply and picked up his knife and fork. As he continued to have his dinner, he felt more and more awful about the entire situation. If April was around, she would be piling food onto his plate. She would be sitting happily beside him. His mood had been so affected these past 2 days that even his appetite was poor. I'm done. He put down his utensils and prepared to take his leave. Aaron, you've only had half of your portion. Is there something wrong with my cooking? Emily asked out of concern. No, I had something to eat earlier. He continued his way upstairs. Couldn't stop checking his phone and going onto his social media page. He couldn't stop tossing and turning in bed. Eventually he jolted out of bed, miserable, and called Richard. Come out and have a drink with me. Come crawling back to me after getting into a fight? I'm not going out, not after how you treated me this afternoon, Richard said spitefully. Who said I'm drinking because I had a fight? April had a tight rein on me the whole time. I finally had some freedom now and want to have fun. Are you coming or not? If you don't go out, I'm not going to arrange for you to go to the Great North on a business trip. Richard cursed him silently before reluctantly agreeing. Let's go to the bar. At 11:30 p.m., the two men met in the most luxurious bar in Rosewood City. The booming music was deafening. Richard was getting dizzy sitting at the bar. Are you crazy? Why didn't you book a room? You've always hated noise. It's quite refreshing to sit out here occasionally. Aaron ordered 4 drinks from the bartender. When all the drinks had arrived, he fished out his phone and snapped a photo of the drinks and posted it online. Richard watched him and smirked. Are you doing all this to make April jealous? Impossible. I'm not so lame. Aaron glared at him. Don't block me then. Let me see what you posted. Richard chuckled. Don't think I don't know. Sylvia told me that you've blocked me on your social media ever since you started dating April. You can block me too. I don't mind. Aaron couldn't be bothered to talk to him. He continued to post more photos on his page. Don't tell April that it was only the two of us if she ever asks about tonight. What on earth did you post? Richard thought to himself. At midnight, April refreshed her social media page and saw Aaron's new status update. Haven't been out to rave in a while. The nightlife is amazing. There were 2 photos attached to the post. A picture of 4 glasses of alcoholic drinks and another photo of men and women rubbing against each other on the dance floor. Sylvia commented, Bro, are you sure you should be doing this? Does April know about this? You want to be punished by kneeling on the keyboard? CEO Bennett, what can she do to me? Sylvia, at April, come out and teach my brother some rules. April spent a while staring at the phone before she finally tapped reply and typed a series of words, then thought for a moment and deleted them. Then she unhappily turned off her phone and threw it away. She was really not happy, yet Aaron was enjoying himself all this time. She called him all day long, yet he never answered the call. Instead, he went to a bar to have fun. There are so many pretty girls, so it must be fun. Have as much fun as you want. Tomorrow's Christmas Eve, and the day after that is Christmas. You can celebrate with someone else. Don't ever come back to me the rest of your life if you can. In the bar, Aaron couldn't stop checking his phone, so much so that Richard was even bored. Let's just go back, he suggested. All right. Aaron stood up and walked a few steps. Then he found that Richard remained sitting at his seat, looking at him sullenly. Is there anything else to do? He asked. Richard wanted to vomit blood.
He just said that to express his discontent, but he didn't really want to go. "We've only spent half an hour here," he said. "I've already posted all of my pictures, so why should I stay here?" asked Aaron. "Damn you, and you just refused to admit that you came here for pictures." Aaron thought for a moment and felt a little guilty, so he added, "Don't look at me like that. In the future, when you're in the same situation, I'll come here with you. I won't be like you, though." Back in the villa, Aaron spent a while lying on the bed, then checked his phone and found no comments from April. He lied for a while longer, then checked his phone again, but still nothing from April. The whole night, he had his phone on his bedside table and barely slept. In the morning, after the breakfast was served, Emily saw Aaron sitting in a chair with a pair of dark circles under his eyes. "Brother Aaron," she paused slightly and said, "you didn't sleep well. Maybe you shouldn't have coffee this morning." responded Aaron with a deep voice. It wasn't like this before. Before, as soon as he posted the pictures, April would leave a comment and would always interact with him. She hadn't called him again. Is she angry? Why is she angry? I should be angry. Does she want to get back together with Isaac? Has she gone blind? It's so difficult. My woman can be blind sometimes. "Emily, give me your phone," he called Emily. Emily puzzled at first, but she handed her phone to Aaron without hesitation, saying, "Brother, what do you need it for? My phone only cost about $1,000. It's not as good as your expensive one. I want to send April a few messages with your phone. Don't tell her." While speaking, Aaron opened the WhatsApp on Emily's phone. Emily immediately figured out that Aaron had a quarrel with his girlfriend. Well, he's using me again. Aaron found April on WhatsApp, then messaged her. "April, are you in a fight with Aaron?" 3 minutes later, April responded. "Why?" Emily, "Nothing. The master seems in a bad mood. That's why I asked." April, "We had some disagreements." Emily, "Aaron is really nice. He wouldn't lose his temper for no reason. Did you do something wrong to him?" April, "Sister Emily, don't you know what kind of a person I am? What could I possibly have done wrong to him?" Emily, "Aaron's hand is wounded. Someone bit him. He lost a lot of blood." April, "Did you dress his wound?" "I bit him, but that's because he made me angry." Emily, "April, you care a lot about him, don't you? Do you love him?"
Episode 178. It's a gift from my woman. It's filled with her love. After Aaron sent the last text, he didn't get any replies from April. Aaron fiddled with the phone agitatedly. When he looked up, he saw Emily staring at him. "Sir, can I have my phone back?" "What's the hurry? Go have some breakfast," Aaron said coldly. After another couple of minutes, he double-texted April. "Why did you stop replying? You don't love Aaron as much now?" After a while, the phone buzzed. April popped up on the screen, and Aaron swiped to hurriedly hang up. He replied, "Aaron is beside me right now. I can't pick up the phone." April, "Oh, I thought Aaron was texting me using your phone." Aaron grunted and replied, "How can that be? Boss Aaron would never do such a childish thing. He has been coming home late every night. I think he's been out partying. Richard told me that there were many ladies chasing after him at the bar. Just giving you a heads up because we're good friends. Don't let such a good man go." April, "I'm not letting him go. It's just that he's been having so much fun outside. I didn't want to disturb his adventures. I'll just let him do whatever he enjoys." Emily, "I'm asking you, do you love him or not? If you do, go and look for him tonight. It's Christmas Eve after all. If you really want to break up or reconcile with Isaac, then it's fine. What's so great about Isaac anyway? He can't compare to our young master." April, It's difficult to explain over text. Let me call you." Emily, "It's a yes or no question. Why can't you just answer me? Am I right about you?" April, "Don't be agitated. Let's talk over the phone. Go and hide from your boss. You've been texting me for so long now anyway." Emily, "You jinxed it. He just called me. I have to go now. It's okay if you don't want to answer me now. Don't regret it when someone else steals him away." After sending the last text, Aaron cleared the conversation history and returned the phone impatiently. "She suspects that I was the one texting her. If she calls, you have to deny everything." Emily was stressed. "Aaron, would you tell me what you were talking about then? I'm worried that I'll slip up." Aaron blushed and said patronizingly, "I just advise her to reconcile with me." With that, he marched off. Emily looked at her phone and grinned. Ever since he had gotten into a relationship, Aaron was becoming more and more thick. At the CEO's office. Everyone in the office could tell that their boss was in a terrible mood that day. He scolded his secretary for eating an apple in the morning, and when Marvin brought one for him, he yelled at him and said, "You're only good at delivering apples now, are you? How are things with the mail that I asked you to find?" Marvin replied innocently, I went to the dispatch office and the delivery guy said that he received an order to deliver the package. When I chased down the sender, it was a blind guy who said that someone offered him $1,000 to send the package out. A male, he said. Aaron snorted in disbelief. What a scheme. Yeah, they've racked their brains scheming, Marvin added. Aaron pondered for a while and then said, Find a way to send Mary abroad. She's so annoying. Marvin wanted to cry. Mary was the niece of the chairwoman of YCC Corporation, so as an assistant, what could he possibly do to her? Besides, Mary was now trying everything she could to build her career in the entertainment circle, and she wouldn't want to willingly go abroad. Mr. Bennett, do you think Mary did this? I'm not sure. Just send her abroad, and let's see if more things like this will happen. Well, no, said Aaron blandly. Marvin didn't know what to say. Aaron rubbed his forehead and said, Get out, I'm tired. Marvin wore a bitter face. He was tired too. Even sadder was that, as Aaron's personal assistant, he found that the closer to the end of his work hours, the worse his boss's mood would be. No matter what his boss said, his words would be terribly cold. Under Aaron's frigid eyes, he gathered enough courage and asked him another question. Mr. Bennett, it's Christmas Eve tonight. Would you like to book a table somewhere and have a date with Miss April? Date? Aaron turned his icy cold eyes to Marvin and responded with, Why would I go on a date with her? I'm busy. Then would you like to keep a few apples? Many girls want to receive apples as a gift at Christmas Eve, said Marvin kindly. Aaron glared at him and said in a frosty tone, Do you love apples? How many times have you mentioned it? Finish all the apples in your hand before leaving work. Marvin wanted to cry. He brought 6 apples, and he couldn't possibly eat all of them. At 5:30, Marvin brought another apple into Aaron's office. The apple had a bow knot on it. Aaron, who was working, saw Marvin carefully put the apple on his desk. I told you not to bring the apples. Aaron angrily threw the apple at the wall. The woman hadn't contacted him yet, which meant he was going to spend Christmas Eve alone. Did anyone know how irritated he was? He now really wanted to tear every couple in the secretary room who were preparing to spend Christmas Eve together apart. Marvin blinked and said, That apple is from Ms. April. Aaron's dark face suddenly froze. He abruptly stood up and asked, What did you say? Is it April? Yeah, Marvin nodded. Do you know any other Ms. Aprils? Why didn't you tell me earlier? Where is she? Aaron glared at him and asked, Outside? Downstairs. I picked the apple at the bottom of the stairs. She doesn't want to come up, said Marvin. Aaron kicked the chair away and walked out quickly. After walking a few steps, he turned back and picked up the apple from the ground. Earlier, he threw the apple away too hard, so a quarter of the apple was now missing, and the rest of it was covered in wounds. He grabbed the apple, wiped it on his clothes, then took a bite of it. Marvin was shocked. He said, Mr. Bennett, it's broken. Don't eat it. I have to eat it, so I'll be safe next year. If I'm not safe next year, will you take the responsibility? Besides, it's a gift from my woman. It's full of her love. Anyway, you've never been in love, so you wouldn't be able to understand. For saying this, Aaron walked out of the office in large steps while eating the apple. Marvin couldn't think of a word to say. We both gave him apples, but why did he treat us so differently? Aaron quickly went downstairs. Seeing the eye-catching pretty lady standing by the gate who was wearing a vintage-style long dress and plaid blazer, looking tall and slim, young and fashionable, he immediately slowed down to make himself look proud. Episode 179. I finally know that you love me. As he approached her, April turned around. She was wearing light makeup and a cherry blossom pink lipstick that he loved. What are you doing here all dressed up? What, are you trying to seduce me with your beauty? I'm not going to forgive you so easily. I'm not a superficial man, Aaron said harshly. April hadn't even said a word yet. She was both tickled and angered. She was tickled because he was complimenting her in a way. All right, she hadn't dressed up for anything then. He was still so spiteful with his words, though. It was evident that he hadn't done any self-reflection on his part. If you're not going to speak nicely to me, I'm going to take my leave. April turned towards the staircase. Before she could walk away further, Aaron turned her around by her shoulder. Are you leaving because of the way I'm talking to you, or is it because Isaac is back in your life again? Are you losing your patience with me? Look at how viciously you bit me. He waved his injured arm in front of her. It had only just scabbed up after 2 whole days. He was furious. How was Isaac better than he was? How could she be so blind? She should really get treated for her poor taste in men. April looked at his hand. She felt guilty, too. She hadn't expected to bite him so hard, but the moment she thought about how he partied the night before, she felt less guilty about what she did. I bit you because you were being unreasonable. It has nothing to do with Isaac. You know it yourself. Erin smiled coldly at her. You're unloyal. April was speechless. Do you still want to spend Christmas Eve together? If not, I can just leave right now. Yes, I'd rather you spend the night with Isaac, am I right? Erin glared at her and said in a low tone, April, I'm telling you right now, if you leave today, don't ever come back and look for me again. April felt a pang of pain in her chest. Her throat and nose were instantly all choked up. I don't understand what I've done so wrong. You and Isaac were hugging each other in school, Erin said through gritted teeth. You let him put his arms around your waist. You let him hold your hands. I did the same, but you bit so aggressively. Erin pulled out the photos from his pocket and threw them at her. Look at it yourself. You better give me an explanation. April looked down and she was shocked. Who gave these to you? How would I know? Someone sent them to me, Erin said before April picked up the photos and threw them at his face. Erin, is my character so questionable in your opinion? How can you believe someone else over me? April was furious. Let me tell you. A few days ago, Madison pushed me onto the road and Isaac pushed me aside before a car could hit me. This photo was taken when he helped me up. I was in a lot of pain then, so I didn't manage to push him away immediately. The last photo was taken when he tried to stop me from leaving, and that's when I got into an argument with him. Really? Erin was stunned. You're not lying to me. One day, if another woman stumbles into you and appears to be hugging you, am I allowed to misinterpret the situation? April asked him. You surely can't misunderstand me. I live in the Silt, but I am not in Brood, Erin responded, making himself sound very reasonable. April laughed, saying, Are you saying that I live in the Silt and am dirty? That's not what I mean. Erin coughed slightly. No matter how dense he could be, he now clearly understood that the woman in front of him was mad. The point is that man is no one else but Isaac. You told me yourself that you loved him. You'd get angry even if he wasn't Isaac. I was just doing homework with a male student, yet you lost your temper. April frowned and raised her head to look at him. What happened in the library was fresh in her memory. Erin didn't say anything but stood there wearing an indescribable look. You can't do that again. April made a deep breath so to calm herself. This was a special day. He could be unreasonable sometimes, and she didn't allow herself to be like him. Think about it. You're a CEO. You're surrounded by female secretaries and other female employees every day. Off work, you need to engage in all sorts of social activities. Based on the bad trends in your rich people's society, should I be worrying all day long? Not to mention anyone else. Kiara, the lawyer who works for your company, she's so pretty and she likes you. Should I be jealous of her? April asked. Kiara? Erin finally smiled. You have a very good memory. She only saw her once. But you remember her? You weren't unhappy back then, weren't you? You must have seen her as your biggest rival in love. April was speechless. He could always misinterpret the meanings of her words. April, I was wrong. Erin gently held her hand, looking at her with a pair of ocean-deep eyes while saying, I finally know that you love me. When did I not love you? April sighed. When you bit me. Erin sounded aggrieved. I wanted to control myself that day, but when you saw you together with that boy, immediately Stop. We weren't intimate, all right? Don't add the wrong words. April raised her hand and said, We kept a distance. I don't know. In my eyes, you sitting side by side with a boy means intimacy. Think about it. We go out for dinner, you always sit in front of me. Why do you have to sit side by side to discuss homework? Asked Erin. April was speechless again. What about I sit side by side with you when eating, and face to face with others when discussing homework? That's the biggest compromise I can make. Erin pictured her sitting face to face with a male student and discussing homework, still very unpleasant. However, he knew that if he didn't take a step back, tonight would end in an unhappy way. Forget it. Since she took the initiative to talk to me, I'll just compromise a little, he said to himself. All right, he said. April sighed with relief, raised his hand, which was bitten by her, and said, In fact, I didn't mean to bite you. You grabbed me too hard. I'm sorry, Erin finally apologized. He was wrong, indeed. Episode 180. This is my girlfriend, the future Mrs. Bennet. April felt bad for him all of a sudden. Perhaps the greater your family empire, the greater the pressure you must shoulder. Her family had had great hopes for her since she was young, too. Her father was the principal. He would be made a laughingstock if her results were bad. They didn't have to be so strict with me. Although I don't have a photographic memory, I could still easily breeze through the school years, Erin added. She shouldn't have pitied him. But now I know that it can mean something else when someone bites me. April, feel free to bite me whenever you want. He extended his uninjured hand to her. I'm not a dog, okay? April pushed his arm away. Who is so malicious to send you these photos? They are purposely trying to get between us. I have two suspicions. It's either Mary or Isaac trying to make me jealous. Aaron looked solemn. I asked Marvin to look into the matter, but it was a dead end, and we didn't manage to find anything. April nodded. It was a reasonable postulation. All right, you said you were pushed by Madison. Are you hurt? Aaron glanced at her from head to toe. He was frustrated that Isaac was the one who had saved her once again, just like that time when she fell into the pool. Thank goodness Isaac protected my head. April was mid-sentence when she noticed that his expression had turned dark again. He saved you twice in a row. Aaron looked at her indignantly. Are you moved by his actions? Impossible. He was the one who sent my father to prison. I feel nothing but repugnance for that man. I would never be thankful for him. April shook her head vigorously. But I really should thank him this time, Aaron said hesitantly. If he hadn't saved you, I would have lost you forever. It's all Madison's fault. I went too easy on her previously. Let's not pursue this any further. She was driven to the edge when you posted those photos of her online. She received a lot of backlash from her classmates. She's been staying away from me. I don't want any more trouble, April pleaded. All right. Aaron looked at her quietly. I haven't seen you in 2 days. You've changed. Let me take a proper look at you. How could I have changed within 2 days? April was embarrassed that he was staring at her that way. You're even more beautiful now. April blushed and realized that it was already time for people to knock off from work. Many of the workers were looking at them curiously. All right, let's not stand here anymore. Your workers are staring. So what? They're staring because you're so beautiful. There's nothing to be scared of. Aaron chuckled. I'm going to show you off to all the single men in this office. He would never forget how miserable he felt when he saw couples around over the past 2 days. I don't want to be stared at like an endangered animal. April bit her lip and widened her eyes, signaling Aaron not to cut it out. True. Come up with me then. I have some documents that I need to settle first. We can go for dinner afterwards. Aaron wrapped his arms around her and dragged her towards the elevator. They were in line of sight of all the workers on their way home. April only relaxed when they entered the elevator. Aaron noticed the paper bag that April was carrying. What are you holding there? Let me help you. April stayed silent and let Aaron take the bag. He opened the bag and found a gray scarf in it. Taking it out, he found that it was a long men's scarf. Is this a gift from me? He smiled and sounded proud. Rosewood City isn't cold. Why would you give me a scarf? Did I say it was for you? April glanced at him. It's not for me. Who is it for, then? Aaron's face darkened. Tell me. I'll break his neck so he won't be able to wear it. April didn't know how to respond. Tell me, Aaron said as he stared at her. April rolled her eyes and said, I was going to give it to you, but you clearly don't want it. I knew it. It is for me. Aaron proudly snorted and said, I didn't say that I didn't want it. It's not cold, but since this is a gift from you, I'll wear it no matter how warm it is. Once he finished talking, he wrapped the scarf around his neck and looked at himself in the mirror in the elevator. After that, he turned to her and asked, Do I look handsome? Yes, very handsome. April straightened the scarf for him. He was wearing a brick-hued, double-breasted suit today. Most people would look old-fashioned in a suit like this, yet he looked like someone who was attending Fashion Week. With the scarf that she gave him, he now looked like a tasteful Italian man. It's all because of your good taste. Aaron put his arm around her and said, April, the scarf you gave me is pretty. Yeah, I knitted it myself. Paused slightly. He picked up the scarf, looked at it carefully, and then he lifted her hands and stared at them while saying, April, you're amazing. My woman really is perfect. You can even do difficult work like knitting a scarf, and the scarf is so pretty. Is there any woman who is better than you? Hearing his compliments, April's face grew hot. Don't exaggerate. How hard can it be? Many girls can knit scarves. None of the women I knew could do it. You're the first one. Aaron wasn't trying to hide his admiration at all. April, you needed to study and went on dates with me every day. You must have put lots of effort into the scarf. A little. I stayed up till midnight every night knitting it. April rolled her eyes and said, I was knitting it last night. However, someone was enjoying his time in a bar. Your Instagram pictures were interesting. Maybe you shouldn't spend time with me and instead hang out with yourself tonight. The night world is fascinating. Are you jealous? Aaron smiled and said, Don't worry, I didn't touch any women. Nothing is more fascinating than being with you. April chuckled and responded with, Didn't you say that I couldn't rule you? Of course, you can't, but I'm willing to let you. The elevator had stopped for a while. Aaron held her hand, walked out, and said, April, I know you've worked hard for the scarf. I'll wear it every day this winter." Thinking that April quietly knitted a scarf for him during the days they were in a fight made Aaron feel guilty. He told himself that he must treat her better. "You don't have to do that." The corner of April's mouth twitched slightly. "I'll make you a few more if you like." Aaron caressed the back of her head and then guided her to his office. "Mr. Bennett." The people in the secretary room all stood up hurriedly. "Let me introduce someone to you," he said in a serious tone. "This is my girlfriend, the future Mrs. Bennett." Episode 181. Look up at the stars. So romantic. Everyone in the secretarial area was startled. Secretary Freddie looked at April and found her very familiar looking. The other female secretaries were grieving in their hearts as they thought that Mr. Bennett and Mr. Richard were happily in love. How could he have a change of heart so quickly? Aaron looked pleased with himself when he saw the look of surprise on the faces of his subordinates. He was proud to show off the fact that he wasn't single. "All right, let's head home soon, everybody. It's Christmas Eve, after all. Go have an apple with your boyfriends." He paused before continuing. "Those who are single, don't be too depressed. You will find your own happiness one day. Merry Christmas, everyone." He finished his sentence as he wrapped his arms around April and dragged her into his office. April was wearing a silly grin on his face and looked as if he had just conquered the world. Marvin chuckled to himself. He wished he could capture this moment and replay it for his boss. Aaron had been nothing but unpleasant to work for during the past couple of days. "I've got to hand it to Miss April. How did you thaw that block of ice so quickly?" Marvin thought to himself. When the door shut, April looked around and noticed a ribbon on the floor of the office. It was the same ribbon she had used to wrap the apple that she had gifted him. She picked it up and asked, "Why is this on the floor? Where's the apple that I gave you?" "Probably the wind," Aaron lied conveniently. He didn't want her to know that he had thrown it to the ground earlier. "I ate it immediately, when I had the chance to. It was delicious. Was it some sort of special variety?" It was one of those cheap apples she had bought from the roadside. The flattery, April pressed on. "What about your present to me and your apple?" Aaron froze and turned to yell for Marvin. "Come in here, Marvin." "Mr. Bennett?" Marvin burst through the door at his beckoning. "Where's the apple? I told you to buy apples for April. Where did you leave them?" Aaron gave him a hard stare. Marvin had bought so many. Surely he could give just one or two. "Didn't you make me eat all of them?" Marvin said in his mind. "I was so busy today and I forgot about it. I'm sorry, Mr. Bennett." "Sorry, Miss April," Marvin said apologetically as he decided to take the fall for his boss. "That's no excuse. Never mind, I've been too easy on you recently. You've been slipping up quite a bit. I'll have to deduct it from your salary." Aaron held April's hand and said, "Don't be angry, April. I'll go get one on the street later. I have your present, though." He pulled out a rectangular box from his drawer. "I picked out a necklace for you. Look, do you like it?" April opened the box, which revealed a shimmering necklace with a sapphire stone set in the middle. It was beautiful, but she looked up at him and said, "Did you happen to just pick one when you had to buy a necklace for April on behalf of Jeremy?" "Ridiculous. I've been meaning to buy you a necklace for a long while now." Aaron looked slightly awkward. The truth was that he didn't know what to get her, but he chanced upon a necklace when he was at the jewelry store the day before. Even though he was feeling spiteful and angry, he decided to get it anyway when he was paying the bill. Thank goodness he had decided to get it. April knew she was right when she saw his face. Forget it. "Put it on for me, then." "Sure." Aaron brushed his hands along her neck and put the necklace on her. She looked graceful and elegant. The necklace was made for her. "April, look at how much chemistry we have with each other. You knitted me a scarf and I bought you a necklace," Aaron said happily. He noticed Marvin was still standing around. "What are you still doing here?" Marvin was speechless. He didn't want to stay here as he felt very sorry for himself when watching the two lovebirds, Aaron and April. "You asked him to come in without letting him out." "Whatever, just do your work then. When you're finished, we'll go out for dinner," April explained to Aaron for Marvin. She started to feel sorry for him. Normally, Marvin would take the blame for all sorts of things and, as a result, have to fulfill all kinds of unreasonable requirements. "All right." As he was reminded by her, Aaron immediately said to Marvin, "Fund an expensive restaurant and book me a table." "Sure," Marvin responded and left. Aaron started work. He only had a few files to sign, yet he clearly read every one of them. Before, April often kept him company when he was working. She was used to how serious he was at work. He was the big boss, yet he always worked so late. Sometimes all of his employees had left by the time he got off work. At about 6 o'clock, when it was dark, Aaron finally finished all his work. When leaving the office, Marvin said to him, "Mr. Bennett, Today's a special day. So many people are eating outside. You told me to book a table, but it was too late. Many restaurants are full, and I only managed to book a table at an Italian restaurant. Erin frowned and said, Italian food is no good. Are we going to eat Italian food on our first Christmas Eve together? Marvin didn't know what to say. Earlier, I asked you if I should book you a table, and you said no. Let's go to that Italian restaurant. April held his arm and said with a soft voice, I'll happily try their food. Let's go, I'm hungry. Erin drove to the restaurant. Not long after leaving the company, he realized how crowded it was out there. It was almost 7 o'clock, yet the road was still jammed terribly. Why is the road so jammed? After waiting 8 minutes, Erin began honking the horn impatiently. It's normal. It's a festival, after all. Tomorrow night will be worse, said April. She was used to the traffic. Let's take another road. Erin drove onto another road from the fork, but in about 10 minutes he found the road jammed again. He began complaining endlessly. People are really boring nowadays. It's just Christmas Eve. Why did they all come out today? Look, there are a bunch of women in the car next to us. Why did they come out? They don't even have boyfriends. Are they just here to worsen the traffic? Don't single people have the right to come out? Besides, haven't you gone out during the festivals? Asked April. I haven't. Erin shook his head and said, I'm a homebody. Homebody, my ass. You wanted to come out all day, even when suffering from a spine injury, and you were hanging out in a bar last night. Well, we can only wait. April sighed and continued. After about 30 minutes, the car had only moved forward about 300 feet. Erin was getting more and more impatient. We finally get a chance to celebrate Christmas Eve, yet the traffic is so bad. Why are we so unlucky? Dinner time is almost over. The restaurant will stop accepting guests after 8. We can eat somewhere else or go back. I'll cook for you. April looked at the impatient Erin and hurriedly comforted him. No, tonight is special. How could we spend this special night eating at a random place? I want to give you an impressive romantic night, said Erin restlessly. April was starving at that moment. However, hearing Erin's words, she was touched. She couldn't help but reach out her hands to hold his fist and say to him with a soft and gentle voice, It is impressive. Spending time with you now in a car, it's just the two of us and nothing is bad. Look up at the stars above us. How romantic. April's mouth set his body on fire. There was a honk from behind, and Erin had to break the kiss to inch the car forward. April pursed her moist lips in slight embarrassment. The car came to a halt yet again, and these stars aren't that spectacular. Have you seen the night sky in Tibet? When I was at Rutog for duty, it felt like the stars were within reach. Where's Rutog? The most western side of Tibet. That's too far. I won't be able to go there. My body wouldn't be able to take it. April smiled. Let's go stargazing at sea, then. The night sky there is pretty spectacular, too. Erin smiled. Why was he talking about the seaside? They were pretty far away from it. Let's go to the seaside during your winter break after New Year. Erin laughed lightly. I'll go ask Marvin where exactly we should go. The two of them were stuck in the traffic jam until 8 o'clock before the roads cleared up. However, by the time they arrived at the Italian restaurant, the manager informed them that they had had to give another customer their table because they were too late. Erin wasn't willing to compromise by going to another, possibly subpar restaurant, so April offered to cook for him at home instead. Before they went home, they stopped by the police station to drop off the gift for Sylvia. Sylvia was wearing her police uniform and holding a box of takeout when she came out to meet them. Erin frowned at the sight of her and said, Why are you eating so late? And what on earth are you eating? I think Richard has better food than you do. It's Christmas Eve, after all. Why do you have to work overtime anyway? Come on, how can you compare your dog to me? You don't understand. There'll be more accidents happening on Christmas Eve, especially in bars and supper places. Sylvia giggled. I wanted to rest, but someone else asked me to cover for them since they wanted to spend the occasion with their loved ones. Jeremy isn't around to accompany me anyway, so I took this shift willingly. Erin looked a little torn and said, Don't work overtime too much. You're not even married yet. Don't tire yourself out, or you'll look like an old hag soon. Wow, look at you caring for me. Grown to show concern for those around you after being in a relationship, Sylvia exclaimed. I know. I won't be like this once I marry Jeremy. Don't always talk about Jeremy, Erin reprimanded her. What are you saying? Come on, Jeremy's your brother too. Sylvia was baffled. April interjected quickly. He's just worried about you. Sylvia was shocked for a moment before stuttering. Don't make me cringe, sister. Go on your date, guys. Don't let me get in your way. I have things to handle back in the station, too. Sylvia waved goodbye to them. While the car was driving away, April sighed as she watched Sylvia turn and leave. Sometimes falling in love with someone could be scary to a girl like Sylvia and Winnie. They were both in a long-distance relationship. Winnie was even more miserable than Sylvia. April admired them for being able to hold on to their relationship. "What are you thinking about?" Erin asked. I'm thinking if one day we're far away from each other, how long would we continue to stay in love with each other?" April sighed. "Why would we be apart? Where are you going?" Erin immediately frowned. "I was just wondering," said April. "There is no wondering. We won't ever be apart. Wherever I go, I'll bring you. If you want to go somewhere without me, I'll break your legs." Erin snorted and said. April touched her legs gingerly, then rolled her eyes. Her legs were constantly under a threat. Back in the villa, Sister Emily and Steward Wu weren't there. It was Christmas Eve, so they both went back to their families. April opened the fridge and found all sorts of fresh food. When she worked at the villa, she had heard from Sister Emily that every month, different types of fresh foods would be delivered here by air from the supermarkets in Japan and Europe. She picked beefsteak, sashimi, and a large lobster as they were easy to prepare. Erin walked over and sighed with surprise. "You can even cook lobster? Amazing. How are you going to prepare it? Lobster sashimi? Fry, grill, or steam?" Facing his sparkling eyes, April was a little unconfident. "I haven't tried cooking lobster. I plan to boil it, then eat it with sauce." "Yeah? It must be delicious." Erin was really looking forward to it. He believed that eating the food she made would be way better than eating in a restaurant. She gave him a sense of belonging and made him feel at home. That was not a bad thing. The corners of April's mouth twitched slightly. "He's really confident about my cooking skills." We're back at home. The heat's on. Just take off your coat and scarf or you'll feel hot." "It's not hot. Your scarf is comfortable." Erin rolled up his sleeves and said, "Let me fry the steak for you." "You can do that?" April doubted him. "Don't hurt your face again." "I've always fried steaks for myself when I was studying in America. It's easy." Erin picked up the frying pan, then began cooking like a professional. April didn't try stopping him, as he was showing great interest. After the lobster was steamed, the two of them set the table and began eating. April picked up the knife and fork, seeing that Erin was still wearing the scarf. She couldn't help but say with a frown, "We're going to eat now, just take that off. You sweated earlier when cooking." "Yeah? You're wrong." Erin ignored her, instead started cutting the steak. April sighed and began eating the steak that Erin fried as well. The steak looked great, but after trying it, she found that it was terribly overcooked. It was just as she had thought. Erin wasn't cut out for cooking. Erin swallowed a piece of steak, then said excitedly, "I haven't fried steak in 6 or 7 years. I'm surprised that my steak frying skills are as good as they were before." 6 or 7 years? April nearly choked on the steak. "Yes," he replied. She didn't know what to say. "It's good, isn't it? Have some more." Erin cut off a piece of his steak, then handed it to April, saying, "Open your mouth, let me feed you." April slowly opened her mouth, then chewed and swallowed the steak with some difficulty. Usually, Erin's taste for food was normal. April just couldn't understand why he was so confident about his steak. Episode 183. They're trying to save him. "Have some lobster." April divided the lobster into 2 portions and placed one half on his plate. It was her first time making lobster, and she made sure to watch the fire when she steamed it. "April, this is delicious." Erin was full of compliments for the dish. He took a couple of bites before taking out his phone. "What are you doing?" "I'm going to post our dinner online." April blinked and thought, "My boyfriend is such a social media spammer." She couldn't help but refresh her own social media page on her phone to look at his new status update. "A special dinner by a special someone tonight. Delicious. Merry Christmas, everybody." The caption read. She quickly hit reply on the post. "Merry Christmas. I love you," she proceeded to say to him. "Go and check your post." Erin opened his page again, and this time his ears turned bright red. His expression bloomed into a grin, and he picked up a piece of sashimi for himself. Suddenly, a drop of soy sauce dripped onto his scarf. His expression changed immediately as he frantically grabbed a napkin to clean the scarf. Unfortunately, he only managed to spread the stain. "My scarf," he said in exasperation. "It's dirty now." He looked like a child who had just broken his favorite toy. "That's all right, we just need to wash it," April chimed in quickly. "But you made this for me with your own hands. I can't believe I dirtied it in less than 3 hours after I received it," Erin said, frustrated. "Didn't I tell you to remove it when you eat?" April was frustrated too. "You gifted this to me. I want to wear it even when I'm eating," Erin said matter-of-factly. April was taken aback. She couldn't bear to see him get upset like this. It made her upset as well. When she had been in a relationship before, Isaac never treasured her gifts as Erin did. He was the only one who sincerely complimented her for everything that she did. Although he had a bad temper and he was bossy and easily jealous, he was also direct and passionate, warm and innocent. I can make you another one over the Lunar New Year when I'm free. Come on, don't be upset anymore." April planted a kiss on his cheek. Erin turned and kissed her on the lips. He was finally appeased. After their meal, April watched as he took the scarf to the bathroom to clean. She followed behind him and saw him squeeze a drop of detergent onto the scarf and scrub the scarf in a gentle and clumsy manner. Her heart melted at that moment. After dinner, April showered downstairs and Erin showered upstairs. When he came out of the shower, he threw the remote control onto her lap. "I want to watch Heavenly Sword and the Dragon Slaying Saber." He also mentioned about the special episode that he wanted to see. April was speechless. He was always so random. "Then comb through every episode. We have so much time to kill tonight anyway." Erin rested his hands on his waist. April took forever to find that episode since it was a short scene. After he watched it, Erin was emotionally affected and held out his arm to her mouth. "Bite me. Bite me as hard as you love me." What do you do when your boyfriend is so retarded? She thought. "If you don't bite me, I'll bite you then." Erin grabbed her arm and opened his mouth. "Don't! I'm scared of pain," April yelled. Erin opened his mouth wide to bite her. April closed her eyes, waited for a while, but then felt that he only bit her gently on the wrist. She opened her eyes to find him smiling at her. His eyes narrowed. His handsome face glowed under the light as he said, "Your skin is so tender. I don't want to bite you, but I can kiss you." After saying that, he kissed her arm over her clothes. His lips went up to her neck. "It's itchy." April tried to dodge him, but instead fell onto the couch. Erin struggled up, his hands by her ears. He dropped his head and said to her with a dry voice, "April, I'm feeling uncomfortable." April glanced at his lower body, then her earlobes turned scarlet. She hesitated for a little while. Erin was delighted. He lowered his head further and kissed her deeply. Earlier they made out in the car, but he didn't get what he had wanted. Tonight, there were just the two of them. They didn't need to worry that someone else might interrupt them. He kissed her over and over again. Some time had passed, but he didn't make any progress at all. She wanted to cry. "Your wound. Has it healed yet?" April looked at her in the eyes. April blushed. "I won't touch that area then," he chuckled as he pressed onto her on the couch. About 10 minutes later, April went into the bathroom to take another shower. Her face was as red as a steamed shrimp. After coming out of the bathroom, she tiredly climbed into the bed. Erin walked in with an apple saying, "I washed it for you. You have to eat an apple on Christmas Eve, so you'll be safe the next year. Like me." "Thank you." April was touched. She curled up on the bed and shared the apple with him. The next morning, she woke up to find that she was still on the large bed. She sat up and saw a pink box on the bedside table. She opened it and found a fishtail dress in it. "Do you like it? It's your Christmas gift from me. Wearing this, you'll become the center of attention today when hosting the Christmas show at your school." Erin's voice was abruptly heard from the changing room. He was smiling, wearing a trench coat and the scarf that she gave to him, looking like a gentleman, but also like a yuppie. "I love it. It's beautiful." April raised her face and said, "Erin, you're so nice to me." Erin proudly grinned and said, "I'll hold your hand in front of everyone so people will know that this beautiful host belongs to me only." I heard that Isaac will be there too, right? I'll make him so angry." April paused slightly and then laughed. "Haven't you made him angry enough? You're boring. I'm going to wash." There was an important activity tonight, so she washed her hair. When she came out of the bathroom, she saw Aaron standing by the window on the phone, his face showing an extremely serious look. "All right, I get it. I'll take the nearest flight there. I won't tell her." April never saw him so anxious before. As he ended the call, she walked to him and asked, "Something wrong?" "Jeremy got shot during a mission. They're trying to save them now. I need to be there." Aaron clenched his phone and said. When he got in, he turned to kiss her. "Wait for me at home. Don't do anything that you'll be sorry for. You'll have to recite that you love me at least once a day. Goodbye." He quickly sped off. April stood in the same spot until the car disappeared from her sight. Then she went back into the house after shuddering in the cold weather. "April, have some breakfast before you go to school. You don't want to be late," Sister Emily said. April invited Sister Emily to sit with her by the dining table. Sister Emily was nervous the whole time as she worried that April might ask her about those WhatsApp messages. She quickly finished a bowl of porridge and then said, "I need to do the cleaning." "The house is clean. Besides, Aaron isn't here, so what's the rush? Sit." April stopped her and said, "Sister Emily, thanks to you, Aaron and I made finally the peace this time." "Oh, yeah?" Sister Emily grinned embarrassedly. "I was touched by what you said to me," April said while stirring the porridge in her bowl. "If you didn't tell me that he came back drunk from a bar the night before, last night calling my name, I wouldn't have known that he actually cared so much about me." Sister Emily sighed with relief and said, Yeah, Aaron was just really drunk that night. Called your name for a long time. You just didn't see the awful dark circles under his eyes the next morning." Before she finished, Sister Emily found that April was staring at her with a weird big smile. "Sister Emily, you didn't tell me that on WhatsApp I was tricking you." April raised her eyebrows and continued, "Be honest with me. Who sent those messages?" Sister Emily immediately covered her mouth and then tried to explain. "I forgot." "All right, Sister Emily. Every time you lie, you roll your eyes very quickly." April found Sister Emily's reaction funny. "In fact, Aaron sent those messages with your phone. Am I right?" "April, how could you set up traps for me?" Sister Emily gave her a complaining glance, saying, "All right, I admit it, but you can't tell Aaron. He's concerned about saving his face. If he found out, he'd deduct my wage." "Was it really him who sent those messages?" The corners of April's mouth twitched as she felt very speechless. "He actually sent those messages himself. How shameless was he?" "Yeah, he took my phone," Sister Emily sighed. "But that night he really didn't get much sleep and he barely ate anything those few days. He went to a bar that night, but he was back in about an hour and a half. The bar is half an hour drive away, so he only stayed there for about half an hour." April finally knew the truth. She guessed that he posted that WeChat moment about him enjoying his time in the bar just to stimulate her. He didn't go to the bar, especially for an Instagram moment, did he? He can't be that predictable. He's really proud. But why do I feel that he's so cute? The cute man had only left for a short while, yet she had already started to miss him. After breakfast, the chauffeur drove her to the school. At Christmas, the school looked busier than usual. April was going to host the Christmas show tonight, so during the daytime, she needed to confirm the draft with the people from other departments for the last time. On her way to the music department, she ran into Mary. They hadn't seen each other for quite a long time. "Not bad. You look vigorous under Aaron's care." Mary gave a fake smile and said to her, "It seems that you haven't had enough bungee jumping. I'll mention it to Aaron next time." Once April said that, Mary's face paled. "April, don't think that you can stay like this for long," Mary sneered and said, "I heard that Isaac will be here tonight. There's a great show to be watched." After she finished speaking, she chuckled and walked away. Looking at her back, April felt depressed. Ryan came down from the stairs nearby, saw April and said to her, "April, did Mary say something to you?" "Ignore her." "April," he whispered, "April, I'm giving you one last chance." Without even looking at him, she began to walk away. Isaac added in a hushed voice, "Aaron isn't around tonight. I heard he's out of the country. You probably won't be seeing his assistant around tonight either." When he finished, he briskly followed behind the principal. April was unnerved as she watched him walk away. She quickly dialed Marvin's number. "Assistant Marvin, where are you now?" "I'm at the company," Marvin said desperately. "I was making my way there when Mr. Bennett's grandma suddenly appeared. Can't just leave her here." April's heart sank to the bottom. All of this couldn't just be a coincidence. It seemed that Isaac had joined hands with Flanders' family. "Is there anything wrong?" asked Marvin. "No," April said. Marvin might not be able to make it to the school, even if he left the company now. Besides, if April insisted on asking Marvin to leave the company, Esther might be displeased. Marvin was just an assistant, and April didn't want to put him in a difficult situation. Most importantly, she knew that she would have to face all of this sooner or later, so she had no fear. "I just want to know if Aaron has contacted you or not. His number is disconnected," she said to Marvin. "Mr. Bennett is going through somewhere remote at this time, so a bad signal can be expected. Ms. April, don't worry about him," Marvin comforted her. "All right, then." April hung up on the phone. The director, Cooper, walked over and said to her, "April, that's Isaac, right? If he offers to sign you, please don't accept. His company has an awful reputation. I heard that some actresses in his company were asked to escort investors." "I know that," April nodded, knowing that Cooper had no evil intention. "I really don't understand why the president brought that kind of a person backstage," Cooper sighed. "I guess he had no choice. After all, the Magma Group owns a giant movie company and television base." April smiled and said, "A school president has to be responsible for the futures of his students. How's your show?" "Our show's ruined by Madison. The substitution is a dabbler. Professor Sandler was going to cancel the show, but he didn't want to ruin the effort that the rest of us had made. It's all our fault. We shouldn't have listened to Madison." While speaking, Cooper glanced at April apologetically. "It's okay. Do your best. The audience will not only pay attention to the ensemble, but will also notice your individual performances. Try to get yourself a chance to take the internship in a television station." April encouraged her, then turned to wait to come on stage. At 7:30, the show started on time. April came on the stage and saw Isaac sitting in the 7th seat in the first row. He was wearing a black suit, looking outstandingly handsome among the crowd. April gazed at him for 2 seconds, then turned her eyes away. She started introducing the guests and the show with clear articulation and a mellow and full tune. Isaac fixed his eyes on her. Tonight she was glowing and surpassingly beautiful. She caught the eyes of everyone on the scene. Behind him, some TV station leaders were whispering to each other. "This host has a good stage manner. There's no stage fright, and she's naturally beautiful. Her English is fluent as well. Indeed, she doesn't seem to have had any plastic surgeries either. I heard that she's from the broadcasting department. Maybe we can sign her and focus on training her." Isaac crossed his slender fingers, eyes showing affection and the desire to possess. That was the woman he liked. If he didn't dim her glow, she would become a star sooner or later. "April, I won't let you fly into the sky, even if I need to give up all I have for that purpose." At the worst, he would return to the beginning, when he had nothing. He didn't care. April managed to stay calm until 10 o'clock. The Christmas show was coming to an end, and she felt more and more stressed. Finally, the last performance finished. April went back on the stage to give the ending speech. However, before she finished, a series of sobs was suddenly heard from the sound system. "He pounced on me like a hungry wolf. I tried to dodge him, but he ignored that. He said, as long as I did what he said, he'd make me a star. Yes, that man is Kenneth Roald Eisenberg, the president of the College of Art in Luxville. He's an animal." Episode 186. You're Not Alone. April froze, and her face was as pale as a sheet. Her nightmare from 2 years ago had started with that voice as well. Her life had been swarming with police officers and reporters ever since. Before she could calm her nerves, a video of Kenneth being taken away by the police in the courtroom appeared on the screen behind her. "He would never do that sort of thing. Dad!" She was bawling and chasing after her father in the clip. The police had forcefully pulled her away, and she was bombarded by the reporters soon after. "Ms. April, did you know about what your father did to the students? Have you always known?" "Ridiculous. You don't have proof." The event tonight was full of various notable figures and celebrities from the entertainment industry. Almost the entire cohort was there as well. Someone quickly shouted, "The girl in the video looks exactly like the MC." Oh God, she is the daughter of the principal that was charged with sexual misconduct 2 years ago. Why is she in our school? The auditorium was buzzing. April looked at the screen behind her. In the original news clip, her face was blurred when they aired the interview. 2 years later, the original raw footage was shown to all her new classmates and teachers. She laughed. For 2 years, she had been living in fear and trepidation, worried that someday someone might find out and reveal her identity to the world. She was worried that people around her would look at her with disgust again. She had been kept on her toes, and she never once imagined that she would be exposed in such a cruel manner. She looked at Isaac, who was still sitting in the front row. He had his legs crossed, and he watched her quietly. His face was cold and menacing, as if he was taunting her to beg him for mercy. The principal stood up and yelled angrily, "Turn this off! Who's playing this?" The operating staff ran over to switch the projector off. The audience was already enraged, and the media was taking lots of photos as well. Someone shouted, "How can someone like that take on the role of MC tonight?" Someone said that she had something going on with Professor Connor earlier on. Could it be true? Perhaps. Her dad was a criminal, so maybe she took after his genes. April shut her eyes tightly and picked up the microphone. "Stop the discussions. Yes, I am April Eisenberg. I hid my surname and took on a new identity so that I could attend school again. This has nothing to do with anyone. This concludes the Christmas ball. Get out of here." Someone hurled a bottle of mineral water at her and hit her arm. April backed away pathetically when a strong figure appeared behind her and shielded her. He grabbed the microphone and yelled angrily, "Try that again. How dare you hurl things at a woman? Touch your heart and ask yourselves, are you all just plain jealous that you didn't get to be the one standing here emceeing tonight?" It was Ryan, the handsome and famous Ryan. When he appeared, all the reporters rushed forward like a hungry pack of wolves ready to devour him. "Ryan, what's your relationship with her? Why are you defending her? Ryan, do you like her?" Reporters surrounded Ryan, giving him a torrent of questions. Before he answered any questions, someone shouted out loud, I know. Ryan has repeatedly and openly mentioned that he and April were friends since they were little." Hearing that, a reporter immediately asked a new question. "So April Eisenberg is your schoolmate? Then what's your relationship with Kenneth?" "I don't know Kenneth, but April and I are friends," Ryan responded without hesitation. "My God, you're friends with the criminal's daughter?" The reporter sounded surprised. "She's not her father. She did nothing wrong." Ryan shielded April from the cameras while moving toward the backstage. The group of reporters intended to follow him. Thankfully, the president now realized what had happened. In order to protect Ryan, he immediately ordered the security people to stop the reporters. April drew back to the backstage section. The students backstage had roughly figured out what had happened. They pointed at April, whispered to each other, but no one walked to her. "April, did Isaac do that?" Winnie came out of the crowd and held April's hands. She found that April's hands were cold. "Winnie, stay away. Didn't you hear what they were saying outside?" A female student tried to warn Winnie. "Don't bother. She knew April's true identity long ago." Mary walked up, gave a sneer, and said, "Ryan, are you crazy? How could you stand out and help her under that kind of a situation? You should better go out now and explain to those reporters, or your career will stop right here." "Mary, before I thought you were okay, but now you just seem to be more and more disgusting to me. April, let's go." Ryan held April's hand and prepared to leave. "I said that for your own good." Mary stomped her foot against the ground and screamed angrily. April frowned, stopped Ryan, and said, "I'm really touched that you stood up for me. But Mary's right. There are reporters out there. This isn't the same as before." "April, I clearly know what kind of a person you are. You're my friend. I can't let you face all of this alone. I don't care enough about what others think of me to do that," Ryan said as he dragged her off and left in a rage. Winnie followed behind them. They went to the back door and the reporters chased in behind. Ryan held April's hand, rushing all the way to his car, finally getting rid of the reporters. April had been very quiet. Winnie worried about her. April, don't worry. This time we are with you. You're not alone. I'm not worrying. April turned back to smile at her calmly, saying, I suddenly feel relieved. In fact, I was constantly fearful before. I feared that people might find out who I really am. Now everybody knows. But I don't care anymore. Worst case scenario, what happened 2 years ago might happen once again. What is there to be afraid of? Does Isaac think I'll surrender after this? He really underestimated me. I just didn't think he'd uncover all of this in such a cruel way. He's a bastard, Winnie said through clenched teeth. The Christmas show was thoroughly ruined. The school had spent more than a month preparing for it and invited so many directors and investors. But now it was all ruined. Not to mention the fact that the whole school was on the scene tonight. Even spreading the story online would be better than what had happened tonight. Isaac first let the people hear the voice of the victim to arouse their empathy, then played the video to make the whole school hate April. Where's Aaron Bennett? Ryan asked. He's on a trip. I can't get in touch with him. April gave a bitter smile. Damn, Ryan cursed with a low voice. Episode 187. April can't get suspended from school. Maybe she can take a vacation. The moment Ryan arrived at the apartment, he started receiving calls from his manager. Before he left, April said to him, Ryan, it's not too late now. You should apologize and stay clear away from me. Isaac won't let you off so easily. I'm not afraid of him. I have my own connections too. I don't believe he can do whatever he wishes. Ryan left in a hurry. After Ryan left, Marvin hurried over after receiving Winnie's call. I'm so sorry, Ms. April. Young Master asked me to take care of you, but I let him down. I've already made several phone calls to several media companies to snuff out what happened tonight, but 3 of the companies are under the Magma Group's control. I don't think I'll be able to control the news coverage without Mr. Bennett and Mr. Richard around. Please, allow me to send you overseas for a while for your own safety. Mr. Bennett will surely take care of this once he returns. You can grab a hold of Mr. Bennett? Winnie asked anxiously. Marvin shook his head desperately. He's in a small town near the Himalayas. It's freezing cold over there. The reception is at its worst. There's no way of getting through to his cell phone. We're gonna have to wait for a couple of days for them to reach their destination. April was shocked. She couldn't believe her luck. How about Mr. Bennett's mother? Winnie said. She's accepted April already, hasn't she? Will she be of any help? Marvin shrugged again. I checked on my way over. They are in Finland for a vacation and are on their flight right now. Winnie was baffled. How can everything happen so coincidentally? Are they going overseas on purpose? Marvin was silent. April said calmly, I guess whatever Aaron said about his grandparents accepting me into the family was a white lie. They must still have objections against me. Shameless, Winnie said angrily. Never mind. There's no counting on them for sure. I think Marvin's right. You should head overseas to ride out this storm. You won't be able to continue going to class anymore. Stay overseas for maybe half a year and wait for the worst to pass. Mr. Bennett will be back by then as well. Winnie's right, Marvin added. Mr. Bennett will never let me off if anything happens to you. He told me that he didn't want to see you come to any harm. Okay, I'll leave. April finally nodded in agreement. She tossed and turned the whole night. The next morning, she saw the news and was shocked. The headlines read, Daughter of sexual criminal childhood beau with Ryan. The photo below with the headlines was snapped when the two of them were leaving the auditorium the night before. Many more students who once accused her father of sexual misconduct stepped forward to recount their stories once more. It was a catastrophe. April looked at her social media page and saw many negative comments directed at Ryan. Even his own fan page was filled with enraged comments, and many fans were threatening to unfollow him. Of course, many of his fans believed that April dragged Ryan into this trouble and cursed her whole family. Her photos were spreading online. Almost every detail of her past was the dugout. Someone uploaded the pictures of her and Aaron holding hands. They said that she had hooked up with the CEO of Splingo. Even some stories about Splingo were uncovered. April hurriedly called Ryan. April, why'd you call me so early in the morning? Did you miss me? Ryan sounded relaxed. How could you still make jokes right now? April felt very sorry. I'm afraid your manager is worried to death right now. Things became like this after just one night. I think the Magma Group is pulling the strings behind this. They're trying to destroy you. I did nothing wrong. If you were me, you'd do the same. I'm telling you, don't go outside alone. It's not safe. Ryan warned her. April couldn't have felt more guilty. Even now, he was still worried about her. At 8 o'clock in the morning, Marvin set a flight ticket to April. Mr. Bennett owns an apartment in France, he said. I'm sending you to that place. You can stay there for a while. Not even the Bennett family people know about that apartment. No, I can't leave now. April shook her head. Ryan is in trouble because he helped me. I can't just leave like this. You can't do anything, even if you stay, said Marvin anxiously. The internet is highly developed now. Some extremists are already trying to find you. I'll stay for a few more days, said April fretfully. Isaac won't try to kill me. He just wants to torture me and take away everything I have. At that moment, the principal's assistant called her, asking her to go to his office. There must be many reporters around your school right now. I'll go with you. Marvin worried about her. April nodded. On their way, someone called Marvin and told him that a group of reporters were at the door of Splingo. Just drop me off at the school gate and then go back to the company, April hurriedly said to Marvin. If the principal gives you a hard time, I'll be fine. Even if he expels me from the school, Aaron will figure out a way to fix it when he's back. Splingo is more important right now. The company doesn't belong to him alone. It's also about the other shareholders' interests. With no other choice, Marvin drove April to school and then left. April disguised herself on her way to the school, so no one recognized her. As she walked into the office, the president looked at her. He was displeased, yet was trying to stay mild. April, our whole school is troubled because of you. Also because of you, Professor Connor has been suspended, said the president. What does Professor Connor have to do with this? April didn't understand. He recommended you to the school. You visited him at his home many times. The other students are unhappy about that. He can't tell everyone that he helped you because of your father, can he? You know what kind of person your father is. If Professor Connor mentions your father, things will only become worse. The president continued blandly. Mr. Bennett's assistant has called me, but Mr. Bennett has still not appeared. His assistant said that he was on a business trip. However, who knows about your real relationship? You'll be suspended from school for now. Can I ask when I can come back? April asked. The president stayed silent. April can't be suspended from school. Maybe she should instead take a vacation. The door of the office suddenly pushed open. Ryan walked in. Following behind him was a middle-aged woman around 50 years old wearing a purplish-red knitted skirt suit. Ms. Jessica. The school's president hurriedly stood up. Episode 188. I may have a brother or sister. Principal Torres, my apologies about my son. He has always been reckless like this, Jessica said as she shook the principal's hand. That's all right, I'm used to it. The principal chuckled and beckoned for his assistant to bring over the tea. Raymond must be here regarding what happened to Ryan last night. He was being quite rash indeed. Jessica laughed and directed her gaze to April. After focusing on her face for a moment, she said, Ryan woke me up in the morning to ask me to help this little lady. Principal Torres, you're a smart man. If not for someone's ill intentions, the video would not have leaked out last night. Someone must have plotted meticulously for the series of unfortunate events to unfold so coincidentally. That may be true, but the fact is that her identity is known to everyone now. As the principal of this school, I must do my best to protect the school's reputation. You and Raymond, I think, should stay out of this matter. Ryan seems to be entangled in this mess, Principal Torres said helplessly. I enjoy being in this mess, Ryan yelled. All right, shut up. Jessica glared at him to put him in his place and continued to address the principal. I support Ryan for what he did. To be frank, I don't think this girl has committed any crime here. Someone is purposely trying to pick on her. She could have been seriously hurt if Ryan hadn't stepped up last night. April was shocked. She thought that Ryan's mother would be like Kathy. Jessica continued. Just by considering the fact that she is Aaron's girlfriend, you think twice before making any hasty decisions. Aaron had to leave Rosewood City due to an emergency. He won't let matters off so easily once he returns. Just think about the Bennett family's status. I'm going to help this girl out as well. If you don't agree with me, I'm going to have Ryan transfer schools. Jessica, that won't be necessary. She's not even going to be your daughter-in-law, the principal said helplessly. Too bad. My son insists that I help her out, so I'm going to support him unconditionally. Jessica laughed lightly. The principal shook his head and sighed. All right, I won't expel her from school then on your account. I'll have to insist that she go on a short break, though. She will only return to school after the matter dies down. Thank you, Principal Torres. Thank you, Auntie Jessica. April hadn't expected things to go so smoothly. Jessica laughed and looked at her with a strange gaze. When they emerged from the office, April thanked her sincerely again. Thank you so much, Auntie Jessica. All right, that's enough. Jessica turned to look at her and began to examine her before sputtering. Uncanny. April was taken aback. You look just like your mother. April was stunned. You knew my mother? We were classmates. Your eyes are just like your mom's. Your mother was of mixed blood, Jessica sighed. Your mother was the prettiest girl in school. I only stepped out to help you because I saw your photo online, and I saw that you are the spitting image of your mother. April looked down, but she was still happy to meet her mother's classmate. Mom, what are you saying? Ryan interjected. I'm calling it like it is, Jessica grunted. Kenneth is a bastard. Not only did he go after those young ladies, but he also let your mother down. April was shocked. Impossible. My dad always loved my mother. He never sought another partner after she passed away. Passed away? Jessica was the one who was shocked this time. I've never heard anything about Melissa passing away. April was puzzled at first and then said, Miss Jessica, I assume you've gotten in touch with my mother for a long time. She passed away due to sickness when I was 2. That's impossible. Your mother was very healthy. How could she have possibly passed away? Jessica shook her head and said, Think about it. You and Ryan are the same age. When you were 2, I met your mother once when bringing Ryan to the hospital for an infusion. She came out from the antenatal care on the first floor. I asked her if she was pregnant, but she didn't answer my question. So I might have a brother or sister? April was so excited that her entire body trembled. It was the first time she had heard so much about her mother. Why didn't my father tell me all of this? Jessica snorted and said, Your father is really not a decent man. I know the reason, though. After all, your mother is an orphan. April had heard from her father that her mother was an orphan. However, she didn't understand why Jessica kept criticizing her father. Did my father do something bad to my mother? She asked. I get it. How could your father be shameless enough to tell his daughter about what had happened? Said Jessica. There are things that you don't know. When your father met your mother, he wasn't a school president. Instead, he was a professor at Morgan University. Your mother was a student. Back then, your father was young and promising, graceful, gentle, and elegant. Seriously, many students had a crush on him. Melissa fell in love with Kenneth at that time. All sorts of feelings well up in Jessica's mind when she recalled the past. Melissa was ruled by nobody and had no fears. She pursued your father, and she succeeded. Before graduating from university, she was pregnant with you. I've thought about it later. I think that's the reason why Kenneth transferred to Lukesville not long after that. After all, it'd be bad for his reputation if people found out that he was with his student. After graduation, I started my career in Lukesville. I worked in a drama club. Maybe it was because we were in about the same circle, but I heard some news about your father. It was said that your father had an affair with a student in his department. They often went to places together as a couple. I even met that woman once. I don't remember her name. She was pretty. At that time, everybody in the circle knew that. April was too shocked to say anything. She always thought that her father was passionately devoted to her mother and never knew that these unhappy stories had happened between them. Had her father been lying to her the whole time? So I wasn't surprised at all when I heard about Kenneth's recent scandal. Jessica gave a cold smile, saying, Being infatuated with young girls is the deep-rooted bad habit of every man. But I didn't think that he'd get that shameless. Mom, language. Ryan slightly pushed Jessica. Jessica coughed and continued. In fact, your mother was a girl with a few friends. It might have had something to do with the environment in which she grew in. She dared to love and hate, and she was bad-tempered. As a girl, she would actually hit the people who offended her. She often worked in bars and internet cafes. She never got along with the other girls, plus she was pretty and many boys pursued her. So the girls were jealous of her. They excluded her from the group. I wasn't like those girls because once on my way back home from school I was harassed by some boys and your mother helped me. I was grateful to her. I knew that she was a very kind person. In my impression, she was very healthy. She rarely caught a cold. I don't believe that she died from a sickness. Miss Jessica, have you ever heard from my mother recently? April asked. Jessica shook her head and responded, Later on I became a star. I traveled all over the world with my troupe to perform. I never saw her again. When I was back, I tried to reach her, but her number was disconnected. None of her classmates had ever seen her again. Episode 189. You finally called me. April was disappointed. Was her father really a sexual predator? Was she suffering from karma in place of her dad? Maybe I should go down to Lukesville prison and talk to my dad. Don't go now, Ryan said hurriedly. Isaac has his eyes on you. Don't give him an opportunity to create more news. Yeah, Auntie Jessica agreed. Do you want to come over and stay with us for a while? It's not safe for you to be out there alone. I saw some extremist comments online. Don't worry, I won't be staying at home. Ryan joked. My family's villa is huge. You won't find yourself bored there. It's an affinity that you bumped into my mom as well. Your own mother's old classmate. It's all right. I'll go back to my own apartment. April refused. If the media catches me at your place, your family will be implicated as well. Jessica shrugged, and the two of them decided to take her home instead. On the way back, Marvin called. Don't go back to the apartment. The bodyguards there told me that there was some people splashing paint at your door. April was shocked. What about Winnie? I asked her to move to the company suites temporarily. Marvin sounded agitated. You should move to the Bennett mansion for the time being. It's okay. It'll be awkward if Aaron's grandma visits. April shook her head. I'll find someplace else. Miss April, you don't have anywhere to go, am I right? How about you move into one of my apartments? Before Marvin could finish, Jessica snatched the phone and said, Don't worry about April, I've got it settled. Marvin was stunned. Who are you? I'm Ryan's mother. She hung up immediately. After that, and instructed the chauffeur to change their course of travel. Let's go home. Auntie? April was at a loss of words. Auntie Jessica was a bossy woman. Don't read too much into it. Our address is highly confidential, and we have security on the premises. The reporters won't be able to find you there. Jessica raised her brows at her. Since I've already stepped forward, I will help you until the end. After all, it is rare to meet any ex-classmate's daughter. I'm old now. I'd like to reminisce about the past. Don't worry about Ryan either. His father and I have our own connections. Yeah, Ryan wiggled his eyebrows at her. Just stay with us. April opened her mouth, but she was at a loss of words. I guess I can learn more about my mother, too, April thought. Jessica's villa was located in the most high-end estate in Rosewood City. It was in a discreet location and was surrounded by security personnel. Ryan was hardly at home while Jessica stayed at the villa with his father. Ryan's father was a gentle and kind man. After April settled down, Sylvia called and said angrily, What's going on, April? Where is my brother? Where on earth did he go when you needed him the most? Your brother's on a business trip with Richard. Sylvia grunted. What a useless man. He talks big all the time, but he doesn't show up at crucial moments. My mother and grandpa are out in Finland. What are the two elderlies doing at a place so cold? Nothing's more important than my sister-in-law. April was baffled. Sylvia didn't seem to know that his grandparents didn't like her very much. April stayed in Rodriguez' family for 2 days. During this time, she hadn't heard anything from Aaron. She always watched the news, though. According to the news, the whole scene was intense at the border of India. The people who lived near the border had moved backward for 30 miles to avoid being affected by the war. There were no reported casualties at the moment. Of course, she had also been paying attention to the entertainment news. Rodriguez family people managed to make Ryan's name disappear from the top hot search list. After that, the relationship between her and Aaron was wildly reported. Even some fake negative news about Aaron appeared online. Splingo's stock had been falling for days. Within this short period, more shares that belonged to Splingo had disappeared from the market. April called Marvin a few times, but every time the latter could only say a few words to her before ending the call, as he was too busy. After watching the news, Jessica shook her head and said, "This time the Bennett family has really gotten their grandson into big trouble." "Miss Jessica, why have Bennett family still not stood up for Splingo?" Watching all the bad things happen, April was really anxious. "Haven't you heard people say that the people of high positions are liable to be attacked?" said Jessica blandly. "YCC Corporation has been thriving for tens of years. Lots of people have envied them since long ago. Aaron is the future owner of YCC Corporation, added to the fact that he founded Splingo at a very young age. He has many competitors. I guess the Bennett family people just wanted to watch a show at first. A little bad news about their grandson would be harmless, as they could easily deal with those. For them, what's important was to destroy you. But unexpectedly, Isaac tried to bring him down. The market of capitalists is filled with wolves. Even if the Bennett family people show up now, they won't be able to stop this. Zachary is getting more and more muddle-headed. He actually took his daughter to see the Aurora. I think they're rushing back now, as they should have received the news." April never thought that her relationship with Aaron could cause such big trouble. "I think Isaac's out of his mind." Ryan joined the conversation. "After Bennett family solved the problem, he'll be their first revenge target." "Yeah." Jessica gave April a meaningful glance, saying, "How much he hates you? To destroy you, he might even lose Magma Group when facing the Bennett family's revenge later." "I don't know." April smiled bitterly. "Is there a way to help Splingo now?" "Yeah. Aaron is involved in this because he's your boyfriend. Things will change as long as they released a statement to tell everyone that Aaron has nothing to do with you," Jessica said. "But Splingo has made no move so far. Seems they don't dare to make the decisions without their CEO's permission. But if this situation continues, more and more malicious short-selling will happen, right?" Ryan frowned and said, "I guess so. We don't know much about the market," Jessica replied. At night, April tossed and turned and couldn't sleep. Tomorrow is a new day. If Splingo's stock keeps falling, I don't know how much more money will disappear from the market. I can't let Aaron's career be ruined because of me, she said to herself. She lifted the blanket and sat up. Found Isaac's number. She called him. "You finally called me." Isaac's dry voice was heard. "What on earth do you want?" April was angry. "Because of you, I can't go to school, and I can't go back home. What else do you want? Do you want me to die?" "Break up with Aaron. Come back with me," said Isaac coldly. "Do you think that's possible?" April sneered. "Isaac, it's not too late for you to stop now. I think I know what kind of agreement you've made with Esther before, but now you've broken it. Neither Bennett family nor Aaron will let you get away with it." Episode 190. I'm the woman who broke up with you. "It's better than watching you stay together with Aaron," he said suddenly. April was stunned. She thought she had misheard him. "Isaac, you are the sole reason why we are like this today." "Do you think that I wanted things to turn out this way? Falling in love with you wasn't part of the plan. I just wanted to get revenge on your dad. April, I don't want you to leave me. This is my way of keeping you by my side," Isaac said almost cruelly. "I was wrong, April. I shouldn't have used Rosaria to make you jealous. I know I can't undo what I did." "Don't be ridiculous. I thought you were in love with Rosaria." April was in disbelief. "I never loved her. How could I love a woman like her?" Isaac didn't bother to hide his disgust. "I don't understand you. I don't understand you at all. You are sick in the head," April said angrily. "You pushed me to the edge just to tell me that you love me? I'd rather not have anything to do with you if it means this sort of treatment. April shuddered at the thought. She hung up the phone immediately. In the dark room, Isaac looked at his phone screen in a daze. The call had lasted for 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Everything she said was like a blow to his heart. He had finally admitted his love for her. She reacted to his affection as if it were something despicable. Why wasn't she going back to him? He downed the glass of wine in one gulp. Clark walked into the room, snatched his glass, and threw it to the side. Kathy called. She said that you cheated her? Didn't you agree that you would only implicate April in this matter? How can you drag Splingo into the picture as well? Esther is extremely displeased with you. Tell them I didn't mean to. Isaac stood up and yelled. Who knows where on earth Aaron is? I expected him to have a contingency plan by now, but he's nowhere to be seen. It's not my fault that his shareholders and board members are in a state of panic right now. Whose fault is it then? You were the one who antagonized Splingo in the first place. Clark was frustrated too. Splingo's in trouble now. Do you think the Magna Group will be able to stay clear of this mess? Do you think Aaron's family will let you off so easily after you made use of them? You're solely thinking about yourself right now. But what about the thousands of employees in the company? What about our investors and our shareholders? Go online and look at how nasty the comments are. Even I am cringing when I read them. I can't imagine what April's going through. Go on, drink yourself to death. I bet April will be relieved when she hears that you're dead. He left after saying his piece, leaving Isaac in a stupor by the bar. April tossed and turned in her bed that night. She opened her social media app in the morning and posted, I declare that I am no longer together with Mr. Aaron. We have broken up and gone our separate ways. I wish him all the best. He was a good man and I lied to him. The moment her post went online, it was reposted by reporters and went on to the trending section very quickly. Marvin called her shortly after. Ms. April, how can you post a declaration like that? Why are you carrying all the responsibility by yourself? Mr. Aaron will go mad if he sees you like this. Brother Marvin, if your company won't clearly cut ties with me, I will have to do it. April comforted him, saying, Who says we can't get back together after breaking up? Who doesn't know about Mr. Aaron's horrendous temper? He'll surely give us all a harsh scolding when he finds out about this. Marvin grimaced. Let's wait till he's back. This is just an expedient. He'll understand. After releasing the declaration, April felt relieved. What about you? Marvin started feeling sorry about her. I'll stay indoors for now. The vacation is coming anyway. I'll just wait for things to cool off, she said. Marvin sighed. He hoped that he can get in touch with Aaron soon. However, he was also afraid that Aaron might want to beat him to death after finding out that April had broken up with himself. At the foot of the border, waves of gunfire could be heard from the border, which was quite a distance away. Aaron kept walking around with his phone. Richard was wearing a thick military coat, sitting on a pile of rock, looking at him. They told us that there's no signal here. Why are you still walking around with your phone every day? Richard asked. You single people know nothing. Aaron coldly glanced at him and said, April almost cried when I left. She choked back her tears. She must be missing me so much as she can't get in touch with me these days. Keep bragging, Richard chuckled. Perhaps she's enjoying her free time without you. That's impossible, Aaron responded without hesitation. However, his temples started throbbing. Isaac had been eyeing April covetously, and Ryan wanted to walk her back every day. Also, all kinds of male students would ask her questions about homework. Therefore, Aaron honestly couldn't stop worrying. All right, let's go to the county tomorrow. I heard from the company commander that communication equipment over there has been partially fixed. Richard just couldn't bear watching Aaron's nervous face. Jeremy is out of anger now, and Uncle Raymond will be with him. All right. Aaron impatiently gazed afar. He wished that he can fly to the country right now. The next morning at 6 o'clock, Richard was dragged out of his bed by Aaron to drive to the country. They made a circle in the country and then finally found a spot with relatively better signal. Aaron saw a pile of missed calls. 20 or 30 of them were from April. Aaron gave a big smile, showed his phone to Richard, and said, Look, the storage of my phone is nearly filled up by my girlfriend's missed calls. I got at least hundreds of missed calls from her. I think she called me every hour. Richard spent a while looking at his own phone. Abruptly, he showed his phone to Aaron, saying, The latest news? April's made a public statement to break up with you. She said that you'll be apart and have happy life respectively. So artistic.
Aaron grabbed his phone, read the news clearly, then he popped his eyes with disbelief and his breath became quick and deep. A while later he said,
"Who is this? She has the same name as my woman." Richard just didn't know what to say. "I'll call April and ask her. I don't believe this." Aaron called April immediately, but she didn't answer the call. He hung up the phone and called again. After 4 or 5 calls, he finally heard April's dry voice.
"Hello?"
"April, you didn't answer my calls." Aaron's angry voice went into April's ears through the phone. "What are you doing? There's another woman named April on the internet claiming that she's broken up with me. That's ridiculous."
"Bennett, Aaron."
April gave a start at first, but then burst into laughter. "Please, I was sleeping. It's 7 in the morning. And yes, that woman who claimed to break up with you on the internet is me."